Okay, hello everyone. So this is another commentary video of yet another PB which I just got yesterday. And this time I want to focus more on the route itself. I'm gonna explain why we do certain things. Gonna talk about what I did differently and what I think could have gone better, as well as what I was thinking throughout the run. So yeah, let's get right into it. It's not much to talk about right now. So we can just start with the run. So again, the first fight is against the Crusted. And you wanna assume that every auto attack 1 hits for 15 damage, and every auto attack 1 anchor shot hits for 40 damage per hit. You want to deal 10 damage above average. Otherwise, on the second anchor shot, you want to use auto attack 2 anchor shot instead. So I missed there, which is fine. You just need to hit one more auto attack. And I didn't get enough damage in, so that's why I had to use auto attack 2, but it's not really a big time loss. It's just like a fraction of a second slower. But usually if Rex misses an anchor shot, I will reset, because you're gonna it takes quite a long time for him to recover from anchor shot, and also you have to hit it again to kill it. And it's like within the first 30 seconds of the run, so usually if that happens, I just reset. So yeah, I'm gonna be making some reference to the other top runners probably throughout this commentary, so them being Anel, Gren, Shem, and Leon. And what's interesting about all the top runners is that everybody has their own variations in the route, so nobody does exactly the same route. We all do roughly the same things, but we go about it in a different way. So one thing here which I picked up from Gren, I usually look down when I skip travel, and there's no conclusive evidence for this, but we just kind of feel that it reduces the likelihood that you get lag when you skip travel. Because every time you skip travel, sometimes like the game has to load the skip travel menu and you can't skip travel for a while, and that's very annoying. So it might be confirmation bias, but since it doesn't really cost us anything, we tend to just look down when we skip travel. And here's part of the tutorial. You have to purchase this Abyss Vest. Fun fact, there's only one Abyss Vest. There's only one Abyss Vest in the entire game. And it's actually pretty useful. It increases your max HP by 24%. So it's pretty useful for squishy characters. Yeah, and one thing you want to do when you're mashing through these text boxes is you want to mash with both A and B, because both A and B can clear these text boxes. But as for tutorials, only A can clear them, which is where I'm not very good at mashing. So I mean, it's not a huge deal, but my mashing speed when it comes to just the A buttons is slightly slower than some of the other top runners. So yeah, here we got the salvaging tutorial. Basically, just dive into the Cloud Sea and bring up some stuff. You only do this once throughout the entire run, apart from this time. So salvaging not really too useful in this speedrun.
I'm back. Miss me?
Yeah, the guy got stuck at the treasure chest there. But yeah, sometimes you can bring up monsters, and if you get like 2 or more, then you have to jump over the railing to the left to get around them, otherwise they'll aggro you. So something annoying about salvaging is that the monsters you fish up when you salvage, they bypass turning off enemy aggro, so they can always aggro you no matter what. So in this category, which is the DLC category, you actually get to turn off enemy aggro as part of the DLC options, which is very helpful because basically it means that you can run around without having to worry too much about having enemies aggro you. Because when they aggro you, it's very annoying. You can't do a lot of things. You can't switch blades. You can't open the menu and stuff like that. So here we take it in to level up. When you tag landmarks and some other stuff, you gain bonus experience, and this bonus experience you can use to level up further in the inn. If you just kill monsters and yeah, just by killing monsters you get like normal experience. So we're gonna take multiple inns throughout the run just to make sure we have enough levels. Most of them are usually just for extra HP and stats. But sometimes we actually do need the levels for some other reasons, which I'll explain later. And here I turn off the enemy aggro because I have to claim DLC anyway for more money to buy the Narsaper jellies here. Narsaper jellies are very important. It's probably the item we use most, the pouch item we use most in this run. It gives 0.4 arts recharge to any driver, and that's humongous because a lot of people complain about like the battle system being slow in this game, but that's actually not true. All you need to do is use arts recharge items, and that will solve most of your issues because it allows you to get your arts back much quicker. And arts are also what you use to charge up your specials, so faster arts means faster specials and faster fights. And yeah, pouch items, each driver can have 1 up to 2 when you get the pouch expansion kit. And they give you passive effects. So desserts are very nice because usually most of them give you arts recharge, and we get Narsaper jelly because it's the best one. So here just talking to quest NPCs. Yep, and here you want to jump down instead of running all the way down the stairs because it's faster to do it this way. I think that's what I've been doing. And now you want to swap Nia for Jin because Jin does a lot more damage than Nia, so he's a lot more useful. You're gonna put the Fluffy Head and Muscle Belt, which you purchase from Argentum, and then you're gonna put the Narsaper Jelly for more arts recharge, like I said. So the belt and Fluffy Hat give you more physical and ether attack, respectively. And that's actually quite a big increase because there are flat increases in stats, and right now you don't have a lot of stats. So it's actually a very large percentage of the stats you have right now. So the strat here, which I use, is to go 3 auto attacks into Anchor Shot, and then you run behind and use auto attack 3 Sword Bash. And if you're lucky, sometimes it will skip backstep, but even if it backsteps you, it's not a big deal as long as it doesn't interrupt your Sword Bash, because using Sword Bash from the back gives you more damage. Now we're gonna do Ancient Vessel Clip. You want to clip into the spot right here near the 2 rocks, and then you want to wiggle your way down here onto the beam, and then jump off this onto this pipe here. You're gonna hug the pipe, hug, and go left to drop down into this room here, which allows you to skip having to pick up a quest item to unlock the door. Then what you want to do immediately is you want to run to the left, engage so that Cursed Cuisine only hits Rex. You want this to happen because you don't want Cursed Cuisine to blow down Jin and the Mallows, because you want them to immediately start attacking the Alago to take aggro. So the more damage you do to an enemy, the more aggro you accumulate, and that makes enemies aggro target you. So you use auto attack 3 Sword Bash from the back after a few auto attacks, because you don't want to do it too quickly, otherwise you'll get too much aggro and then it'll kill you. And then once it's at about half HP, you want to run away because it'll enrage and then it'll use Fin of Fear, which will kill you. Because it's an AoE attack. But yeah, I got a pretty good fight there. Jin managed to break and then Mackos toppled it with Hammer Bash, which increases damage done to it further. So I actually only lost, I think, about 4 or 5 seconds because I took a while to clip into the ship. But other than that, the fight was very good. So now we have our first boss fight. The strat here is just auto attack 4 and then auto attack cancel 4 times, and then you use auto attack to sword bash, auto attack to double spinning edge, which will give you a tier 1. So I run away here just to get just range. And basically when every weapon has a distance which they deal 15% more damage, so I run away slightly just to get more damage on my tier 1. But usually people just cancel immediately from the double spinning edge, which is fine as well. It doesn't really make a difference. But you have some extra time anyway, it doesn't really matter. Because right now you need Pyra to charge up, to give you gold affinity. And then once you have gold affinity, you can charge up your tier 4 special. And I get toppled here, so that's kind of unfortunate. Good thing he storm edged when I was toppled, so I'm just gonna double spinning edge here to finish him. Normally you would use like a tier 1 to finish him if he had a lot more HP left. And yeah, that's chapter 1. I got sub 11 Mackos, which is pretty good. So overall that's a 1104 or 1105 chapter 1, which is very good. I think it's about where Gren's chapter 1 is. But yeah, auto attack cancelling I didn't really mention. Basically you tap your control stick when Rex does his first auto attack, and that allows him to cancel the animation and do another auto attack a lot quicker, which basically allows you to charge your arts up a lot quicker than if you used free auto attacks. So here I give love sources to Pyra. This is to increase her damage. And I actually give 2 love sources. So the first love source will increase her damage by roughly 15%. And the second love source will increase it by a further 5%. So most runners here will usually just give 1 love source, but I tend to give 2 for slightly more damage and consistency. Because this next fight is kind of annoying sometimes, and sometimes the extra damage does help out. So I usually just take the extra 4 to 5 seconds to give 1 extra love source to Pyra here. And in fact, Leon actually doesn't give any love sources here because Leon's a chat. And we're gonna start collecting puzzle tree wood right now. We're gonna need 10 puzzle tree wood by the start of chapter 3. Somewhere after the start of chapter 3. And I get 1 puzzle tree wood there, which is nice. So I get more puzzle tree spots than any other runner in the route. So I get 1 extra spot, which takes 8 to 10 seconds. But my approach to puzzle tree is that I want to take as many puzzle tree spots as I can, even though it's initial time loss, because if I get enough puzzle tree, I can skip spots later anyway, so it does balance out. If I do lose time at all, it's not much. So I find that by taking more puzzle tree spots, I get enough puzzle tree a lot more. Basically all the time. If I don't get enough puzzle tree by the time I actually need it, it's actually very uncommon. And that's very nice because at the end, if you don't have enough puzzle tree, you need to warp back to get puzzle tree, and that's way slower than just getting 1 extra spot to begin with. Okay, so here's Brock. He has a lot of evasion, which is very annoying. As you can see, I'm missing him like a ton. But the strat is to use auto attack to sword bash, auto attack to double spinning edge, and then auto attack to sword bash again. You want to bring it to about 60% HP before you use your prominence revolt here. I miss my sword bash, which is not very nice. I run away here for just range. Didn't matter in the end because Nia broke the Brock. Usually she doesn't break the Brock. but basically just means that she'll be able to kill with the steam bomb here. But I usually run away for just range just to get a bit of extra damage in. So you saw that Nia got a break there. Breaks increase your damage from your blade combos. And those are very good. Those are going to be very important for the run, just to get extra damage and finishing a lot of fights faster.
What have we here?
And it's what's known as a driver combo. Okay, this puzzle tree spot here is the extra puzzle tree spot that I get, the one at the side. It's a bit special because every single spot that you get, apart from that one, has 40% chance to have puzzle tree per drop, and it drops between 2 to 4 drops. But that particular spot that I get as an extra spot, it has 35% chance per drop to be puzzle tree wood, so it's actually a 5% decrease, but on average it still gives you more puzzle tree wood because it drops between 3 to 5 drops. So that's why I really like that puzzle tree spot a lot, because it's not very slow and it gives you more puzzle tree wood on average. But yeah, so breaks are going to be very important. They're known as driver combos, which consists of break, topple, launch, and smash. Launch and smash you're not going to see too much of in this run, but break and topple are going to be very common. And basically what they do is they mostly just increase the damage that you deal from your blade combos. And if you have a driver combo on top of a blade combo, and you kill an enemy, that's known as a fusion combo. Or a joint combo finish, actually. But if you have a driver combo with a blade combo, it's called a fusion combo, and that deals a lot more damage. And if you finish enemies with joint combo finishes, you get extra XP and skill points. So I actually did get some extra XP from Brock there. Which actually doesn't really matter. You don't really need the extra XP from Brock, from what I can tell. It's not really important. In fact, I actually don't want that extra XP, so I can be level 7 later, which is slightly more optimal for a certain movement. But it's not a big deal. Okay, so now we're gonna go around tagging places, so we can warp back to them later. And this thing decides to stand in my way, block me. It's very annoying. I can't remember how many puzzle tree wood I have right now, but I think by the time I get to Torigov, I have about 8, which is nice. But yeah, this is a new movement that Gran came up with. Basically, it's slightly faster than the old Gourmand path we used to take, and it's still the same in terms of like puzzle tree spots. Basically, run up this trunk here. We used to run up a different branch. So it's a nice optimization by Gren. And again, my Gourmand movement is going to be 8 to 10 seconds slower because of the extra puzzle tree spot that I take. So we want to attack Boulder Gate here.
All in one piece.
And then you want to drop down to this cave here to get a scale chip. And 4 chips are basically accessories for your blades. They increase your blade's damage, they give you more block rate and crit rate as well, depending on the chip. And this is going to be important for the fights later because we're going to give the scale chip Pyra to deal a lot more damage. And you really want to pick up the scale chip because if you don't have it, you're going to suffer during the next 2 fights. So once you're done with that, you want to go back to the Boulder Bar Gate, then you want to go up here. And along the way, I'm going to get more puzzle tree wood. So yeah, this is important because you don't want to be running around going to places later. You want to tag as many of them as you can now so you can save time, skip traveling later. So, gonna pick up this puzzle tree spot at the Turkin house. Got 1 puzzle tree there. And then you want to tag Dawnview Grotto, and you want to pick up the vegetables here.
So beautiful.
I get 8 vegetables, which is very nice. So you need 12 vegetables total in this route that we use, because the vegetables, while not required for the story, we will be using them to craft an ox core, 2 ox cores, Hunter's Chemistry 2. And they take 6 vegetables each to craft. And those are going to be very useful. So we want to collect 12 vegetables. And we're going to be visiting Dawnview Grotto again later, so usually we will have enough vegetables. So the spot can drop between 4 to 8. So as long as you get the average number of drops per drop per visit, which is 6, you will have enough vegetables. And even if you don't, there are backup spots later you can take, so it's not a big deal. It's not like Puzzle Tree Wood, because Puzzle Tree Wood is a random drop and you need 10 Puzzle Tree Wood. It's a specific drop which you need 10 of, whereas with the vegetables for crafting, you can use any vegetable. So yeah, once we're done, we pick up more Puzzle Tree and we tag Lasham Island, because we need to go there for a quest later. Then we can head to Torrigoth. And here's the tides mechanic, which it's not really relevant in this run except for one time where we have to use it for story. Basically, when you take long rests at an inn, the tide can move up and down, which gives you access to different areas depending on the tide. You Admiral, good to see you. Hope you all will enjoy this commentary. Gonna give a lot of my insight into the route. Share what I've learned throughout my time running this. Okay, we're here in Torrigoth. First thing you want to do is you want to buy leather gloves. This is going to give more accuracy. And even with leather gloves, you still miss a lot, so you definitely want the gloves. Okay, so you want to get the skill chip to Pyra here, and then swap Rolling Smash because it's better than Double Spinning Edge.
Nice one.
Then you want to teach some skills.
Hey, we didn't do half bad.
Accidentally, I mistimed the menu here. Give both the leather gloves and auto balancer to Nia, and then the cream orange Parapha, which gives her more arts recharge. So a few things about the menu. The first thing I do, which is an optimization that I haven't seen the other runners do, is I give the skill chip first. That way you're able to exit the menu directly after giving the cream orange Parapha, to skip the slow animation of exiting the pouch items menu, which saves a bit of time.
Keep this up and we'll win for sure.
Okay, so I get double deflected by the soldier here, which is kind of annoying. But basically you want to start on the soldier, sword bash one of them, and then rolling smash the other one. Doesn't matter if you kill the soldiers. But then you want to run behind Padrick and use Sword Bash, because Sword Bash does more damage from the back. And this is going to be nice because it gives you enough damage to kill with Prominence Revolt. So yeah, I have the Auto Balancer on Nia, not on Rex. I think Enel and Leon give Auto Balancer to Rex so he doesn't get deflected like that. But I give it to Nia, and Gren and Shem do it too. Because Nia's Break Art needs to land all 3 hits for it to break. And Auto Balancer prevents deflection. So if Nia's break arts gets broken, she can still continue and try to get a break, basically. So it's just to give us more consistent breaks in return for Rex being able to be deflected sometimes. But yeah, here the strat is to start on Padrick, swap to Bridget, use a tier 1, then go back to Padrick. What I do here is once Padrick's low enough, I use the steam bomb to kill Padrick. Then I build up to my tier 4. And I wait for Nia to break here. The Rex gets deflected again, which is annoying. But once Nia gets the break here, I can just wait for the tier 4 to go up, and then that will kill her. And then the nice thing about having two luck sources is that sometimes if you have enough damage on Bridget, like you get a lot of rolling smash AoE, sometimes you actually don't need the break, you can just kill straight up. So yeah, but usually from about half HP, you'll need a break with your tier 4. There's actually a faster strat you can do there, which is to wait for Nia to get a breakup and then use a tier 2, and then on the same break you use a tier 3 after the steam bomb lands, and that will actually deal more damage than the tier 4 on a break because it's what's known as a double stack. Basically, if you get two specials on the same break, it deals more damage than if you get only one special on the same break.
Great menu idea.
It's just one of the mechanics that wasn't really explained, but actually it does increase your damage by a very significant amount. And double stacking is a technique that we're gonna be using to increase our damage throughout the run. But yeah, I prefer using tier 4 on the break there, so a single stack tier 4 on the break, because I find it's a lot more consistent than a double stack tier 3. For one thing, a double stack requires Nia to be able to get her break off just before the heat expires, so that you have enough time to build up to your tier 3. And the second thing is that a tier 3 tends to miss quite a lot for me, and if you miss multiple hits, it actually reduces your damage done by your blade combo by quite a bit. So I tend to use tier 4 because it's more accurate. And the damage is similar, although slightly lower. The downside is it's just a bit slower because you have to wait for tier 4 to go up. So yeah, here we get a wind common blade. We always put a wind knuckle here, which is nice because wind's one of the elements that we need to complete the run. And then afterwards you craft critical up 2 here, using some of the collectibles that you picked up just now. It gives you like 8 deerwood for free, so usually you just use that, but sometimes if you have enough vinegar leaves, because the game doesn't like to give you puzzle tree, you can use those instead. And yeah, this new movement that I do is I run under the house, which gives me a faster path to the Tilly's Bakery here, so I can purchase cream orange patha, and then I just graze the inner circle of Abel's Fountain here to tag it. And I started actually doing this because I thought it looked cool, but Gran actually timed it and turns out that it's actually about 0.5 seconds faster, so good to see that my a funny new movement actually saves time. Right, so now you want to attack Garagom's Arch. Then you want to go back to Tora's house. This is one menu, skip travel menu, which always lags for me. Like, I never ever not get lag here. Yeah, now we have to go and get Poppy's parts. So we need the biome connectors, and we need forgot what's the last one. Yeah, but whatever. Anyway, the biome connectors, normally if you don't have money, you're supposed to salvage them, which obviously we're not gonna do because it's too slow. But the DLC actually gives us a lot of money, so we're gonna use that to purchase the biome connectors instead. But yeah, we're gonna warp to Lasham Island because that's where the quest monster is, and we have to kill it before we get the other part for Poppy.
Shall we?
So yeah, Tora's building this artificial blade called Poppy. And Tora's gonna be in our main party for about half of the run. And a few fights thereafter.
No, we lost the upper hand.
Poppy's not too useful, but I've been doing a different strat to give Poppy a bit more use in this run, and has paid off quite a bit, so I'll explain when we get there. But yeah, this fight's very simple. It's the same. Just auto attack, cancel 4 times, auto attack to sword bash, auto attack to rolling smash into Pyrus tier 1. And with the second lift source, you should always kill unless you somehow miss. Sometimes with only one lift source, if you for some reason get very low rolls and like no arts plus anything, sometimes you don't actually kill the Crabble, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's like 99% of the time you will kill it. So now you complete both the quests and then you purchase the biome connectors here. I can go back to Tora's house to finish up with Poppy. Yeah, and after this cutscene here, you're gonna have to do this compulsory minigame called Tiger Tiger. Basically allows you to get extra parts for Poppy and get ether crystals to craft parts. But since it's not gonna be very useful, we just die instantly. You wanna go normal mode, touch the platform once and then touch the fish twice. And then Tora comments about how we're not very good at games, but we don't care. And afterwards we go back to Lemoore Inn in Argenton, because now we want to run a few errands to get some feud skills and pick up some other DLC items. Namely, Crossette. So Crossette's DLC blade, which we are gonna claim here. We're gonna unlock Crossette by claiming the DLC variant. I'm gonna give Love Source to Poppy to unlock more trust ranks. So I mentioned before that trust ranks do give you more damage. But it also unlocks your affinity chart, so you can actually start unlocking skills. The annoying thing about skills in this game is that you don't actually get the skills until you open your menu and check them. So even though it appears on your screen that you've learned the skill, you need to go into the menu to check them, to actually get them. So we need to unlock those first so we can... otherwise they'll be locked and we can't learn those skills. So we get the love source first. And then we jump here and get the coil chip, which is another pretty good core chip for this early point of the run. And then we want to run over here and jump on this platform here in between the two shops. And then I buy 3 wrist recorders and I start talking to Nopons. So this is to unlock Nopon Wisdom level 2 on Poppy's affinity chart. That's why we have to give the love source first. And then you want to talk to a total of 20 Nopons, because we've already talked to Hurry Scurry, who gave us Crossette. And then we talked to the Strummer Instruments, the instruments shop once. That means we've talked to 2 Nopons so far. We want to talk to 17. We want to talk to them 17 more times. And then there's 1 more Nopon later, which we talked to. So you can do this because the game just needs you to talk to different Nopons. If you talk to the same Nopon, it doesn't count. But if you talk to different Nopons, like in between, it actually resets that. So that's why we're able to exploit that by just standing here and talking to both of them. That's the fastest way to unlock Nopon Wisdom. And now we can run over here to the dock and get another core crystal from this Nopon who is funnily enough named Sorry No Sorry. But yeah, once we get that, we can go back to Torrigoth. And we get Corvin here, and Nell's the only runner in the top 5 that doesn't get Corvin here. He uses Pyra for the upcoming fights. But we like to get Corvin because he's pretty safe. He's pretty safe. He gives a lot of damage and he's pretty tanky, draws aggro. Overall, just a very good character. So we give the love source to Rex here. Give 2 love sources so we can unlock Corvin's entire chart and give him lots of damage. And then here's a menu optimization I did. So I want to give 2 love sources to Tora. This is for a backup in case I don't get one of the gacha blades later called Boreas. You can give 2 love sources in Argentum, but it's actually faster to give the first love source there and the second one here. And the reason you'll see later. But now I'm going to craft Affinity Max Barrier 1, and then I'm going to sort and craft Hunter's Chemistry 2. Expand the energy capacity once, equip Hunter's Chemistry and Affinity Max Barrier. And now you can see why it's faster to give the love sources separately, because it unlocks the next rank of trust while unlocking your knock-on with your super strength, your leaping level 2 and stuff like that. And then I give the coil chip to Corvin. And something I no longer do is I don't give the... We used to give the critical up to the Corvin here because we want Corvin to crit. But Corvin is not very important for Corvin to crit at this point of the run. And because he has the coil chip now, which has a 15% crit rate, and the critical up to is multiplicative of that. It only gives him 1 extra percent for crit rate, so it's not really significant, which is why I no longer give the critical up to the Corvin in this menu. I give it to him later, which is more optimal because we're gonna be equipping yet another core chip on Corvin later. So yeah, I believe at this point I have 8 puzzle tree wood, which is why I jumped down to collect more, and I think I get 1 here, which is good because that means I only need 1 more. And we have 2 more spots upcoming, so that we are pretty likely to get the last puzzle tree that we need. And then you want to jump down here, you want to do some parkour. The game intends for you to go a different path, but we can actually parkour down here. And here's the little more optimal thing. If you're at level 7, you don't need to wait to heal up before you jump again. If you're at level 7, you can just jump without stopping. But if you're level 8 like me, because you got extra XP from one of the fusion combos, like in my case I got a fusion combo on Brock, I got extra XP, so I have to wait a couple of seconds there. And one interesting thing is I did get a fusion kill on Bridget, but because the game is bugged, it's actually a glitch. You actually don't get extra XP if you kill with a fusion combo with a tier 4 that isn't Mega Explosion, or I believe Mega Eruption. So even though I killed with a tier 4 Steam Explosion there, I didn't get any extra experience. But like I said again, it doesn't really matter. And yeah, effects mainly tier 4s. If you kill with like a tier 3, so if you did the double stack method, you would get the extra experience, even though it was a Steam Explosion as well. But yeah, more about the menu just now. So I didn't used to do Poppy swap, but now I do it. 2 reasons. So the first one is the Affinity Max Barrier, and basically it means that when Tora hits Gold Affinity with Poppy, she'll grant a barrier to the entire party that absorbs damage, but since it's only 10% of Tora's HP, it doesn't really matter. But the more important part is that it nullifies reactions like knockback and topple and break and stuff like that, so it can come in clutch sometimes. The more important thing is Hunter's Chemistry, which allows you to get max affinity with Corvin here a lot more quickly, and also upcoming fights when we're using other blades. And when you're at max affinity, you get a lot more damage. So having Hunter's Chemistry is pretty nice. Okay, this fight's pretty simple. You want to start on the 1 soldier, and then you want to use the tier 1 and try to lure both soldiers together. And I get a very good fight here. I'm able to finish them with the AoE Nightbreaker here. Otherwise, sometimes you will use another tier 1. But in that case, I didn't have to wait for another tier 1. Corbin's tier 1 is actually one of the slowest specials in the game, or tier 1s in the game. So it's nice that I don't have to use Corvin's tier 1 again. I can just kill with the Nightbreaker. And now we're gonna start using cross set. So we're gonna put Nia as our main driver and start using cross set as the main blade. I'm gonna swap around Acrobatic Bomber because it's a break art, and break is important. I'm gonna give Rex the evasion art. And again, I'm gonna give love sources to cross set so I can give her more damage and start unlocking her affinity chart. And I put the Abyss Vest on Nia for more HP, and I put the Auto Balancer on Rex so he doesn't clank anymore. And I give the Wood Chip to Crossette. The Wood Chip is something that I picked up in Torrigoth with Poppy Super Strength, which we unlocked just now. And the Wood Chip is very nice because it's I think it's like it's equivalent to a levels a chapter 6. Chapter 5 or 6 core chip, so it's very strong for this point in the run. We're gonna use it all the way until chapter 5. So yeah, Crosset's gonna be our main blade from now on, and the main reason for that is she has a lot of extra damage that she can get. So every time she collects potions, she'll gain extra damage because of a skill known as Gathering Sparks. So at level 1. Every time you collect a potion, you get 50% extra additive damage, up to a total of 500%, which is a very huge multiplier, and is the main reason why Crosset's able to kill a lot of enemies very quickly. And every time you level up Gathering Sparks, it's going to increase the amount of damage percent you gain per pot. So the cap still stays the same at 500, but you build up your damage a lot quicker. So we do a jump here down the bridge by using Joro Mark. You wanna angle perpendicular to the gate, the fence at the side, and then you wanna kind of wiggle your stick around and try to jump down onto the boxes, swap to Crossette, and then go into Dougal. So this is a 2-phase fight. You don't need to collect potions here because the second phase resets your potions. So you just use Auto Type 1 into your Dolphin Spin here. Then if you want, you can collect the potion here and do an auto type free Acrobatic Bomber here, which should usually end the phase if you have 1 potion. If you don't collect the potion, you can just use a tier 1, so that sometimes that's better because sometimes the potion lands very far away. And second phase here, what I do is that I don't attack first because he's gonna break someone. So he's gonna break Rex here, and then I start attacking. And you wanna go Dolphin Spin Acrobatic Bomber to build up your tier 1. And usually you break Dougal, which gives you more damage. And then you wanna go immediately into your tier 1. This gives you more potions, so you wanna collect that. And if Rex has his tier 2 up right now, you wanna use it immediately before the break expires, which will give him a double stack on the burnout, which does a lot more damage. And now you wanna do, and this is why it's important to not get broken. So that attack that the blade did there will topple you if you're broken. So because I was not broken, I was able to go Dolphin Spin and then Acrobatic Bomber into my second tier 1, which finished the fight very cleanly. And now we go to Torgoth base entrance for the last fight of chapter 2, which is against Morak. And we got a pouch expansion kit from Dougal, so we're gonna make use of that right now. Gonna give the Whisper Quarter, which we purchased in Argentum. And this is gonna give Nia a lot of special recharge and allow her to get her specials up a lot quicker. So yeah, now you can see I'm passively regenerating special gauge, even though I'm not doing anything. One of the weaknesses of Crossette is that you need to collect the potions for your damage to increase. So if your teammates collect the potions, you don't get the bonus. So this is one of the RNG factors when it comes to using Crossette in fights. But you want to build up your potions on this fight and try to end with a double stack. So I go for Acrobatic Bomber here, and I use Rex's tier 1 here. And I get the break here, which is very nice, so I'm able to get a double stack while my tier 4 goes up. But because Tora took one of my potions, I actually don't have enough damage to finish this fight. So I missed the kill by just a bit, but it's fine. I can just kill with an Acrobatic Bomber. So I believe I don't get the extra XP from that fight, but it doesn't really matter that much. I can't remember if I did get the extra XP. I don't think I did, but it doesn't really matter. The extra XP is kind of nice, but it's not super important for this part of the run. But yeah, that was a very good chapter 2. The main part of my time save actually came from the Dougal split, because in my PB before this, I lost a lot of time to jumping down the bridge, or I wasn't able to jump down the bridge very quickly. So now we're out of Torigov. We want to go to Uman Shipyard, and that's by the time we get to Uman Shipyard, that's when we need 10 puzzle tree wood. So we have 2 more puzzle tree spots before that, and we want to make sure that we have at least 10 puzzle tree wood by the time we get to Uman Shipyard. Otherwise, we have to warp back to Nuclear Timber site, which we're going to type right now. And per warp, that will take about... oh, let's focus. Per warp, that will take about 15 to 16 seconds, so that's very slow. And you don't want that to happen, which is why I tend to take as many puzzle tree spots as I can up to this point. So I believe I didn't get any puzzle tree wood from that spot just now, so I really need the last spot to give me 1 puzzle tree wood, because that's all I need. And per spot, it's actually you get an average of 1.2 puzzle tree wood, plus the average number of drops is free, and it's 40% per drop.
Hey, look what I found! Congratulations, guys!
If you're hearing some clanking and stuff, it's some thumping. It's because of my cup. That's all. So yeah, overall that was a very good chapter 2. In fact, on the Ardanian soldier split, I actually saved time despite having done the poppy swap menu, which I didn't do in my PB. The poppy swap menu takes about 12 to 15 seconds. So the fact that I still saved about 3 to 4 seconds there is really crazy. So yeah, I believe I do get the one last puzzle tree over there. So I have enough puzzle tree spot. I have enough puzzle tree wood. And yeah, the extra puzzle tree spot that I got after Brock really paid off here. Because essentially, if I didn't get that spot, I would have to have warped 1 time, so I would lose an extra 8 seconds over just getting the extra puzzle tree spot. But now we're done collecting puzzle tree wood, we can head over to Uman Shipyard. And basically, we need to get 10 puzzle tree wood and another quest item which will spawn at Dawnview Grotto. So afterwards, we will go back to Dawnview Grotto, and that's when we're going to pick up more vegetables. And if you recall, I had 8 vegetables already, so because the minimum drops is 4, I'm basically guaranteed to have at least 12 vegetables. Sometimes you don't have 8 and you need you depend on a bit on RNG to get enough vegetables. Crosset can help out with that because she has a passive known as Agronomy, which every time you collect certain spots, she has at level 1 she has a 60% chance to give you 1 extra set of drops. But in this case I didn't need it, so Crosset not proccing Agronomy there was actually more optimal. So I pick up the Diamond Oaks here, which only spawn after you accept the quest, and then I pick up the rest of the vegetables. So I get 5 there, but I only need 4.
Off we go! What will we find?
And now we're done. If you don't have enough puzzle tree wood at this point, you want to go back to Nuclear Timber site to get the puzzle tree wood first. And after you talk to Uman here, you want to go back to Torigov. And you want to go to the inn, take a long rest, which would change the tides. So the only time in this run which you use the tide mechanic. And while you're there, you also want to level up your characters, mostly for HP at this point.
Okay, let's make a start.
Because yeah, I believe the next chapter's enemies are going to be about level 20-ish. So you kind of want to level your characters up.
Really? I'm still getting stronger.
So I get Tor at level 15, which is nice. So usually he's level 14 here. But I had some extra XP, so it's nice that I was able to get Tor to level 15. But usually Neo be level 16, Tor be level 14 to 15, and Rex will be level 15. And I actually compared this to other VODs. I get a very fast load after this inn, so I actually saved some time here compared to the other runs. Yeah, that's one annoying thing about running this game is that your load times are also kind of RNG. So sometimes the game just takes very long to load, and sometimes it doesn't take very long to load. And there's really nothing you can do about it. There is one reset we do later on the run, just to reduce the likelihood of us getting very long loads in one of the later chapters. And I'll explain it when we get there. It's still like quite a bit away, like slightly more than 2 hours away from now. Yo, Atazino, it's good to see you. I hope you enjoyed this commentary. Hope you learned some new stuff. But yeah, once we're done with finding the Titan, we can actually go to Uriah now. Or not go to Uriah, actually we want to go to the World Tree, but then we get stopped by Artifice Ophion. And then we get swallowed up by the Urian Titan. So we end up in Uriah. Just a bit of running before our next little fight here. Oh, I see. You're an EST. You're an EST homie there, Adazino. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Well, it would be nice if, I mean, I understand if you have to go, but if you can stay for the commentary, it would be really appreciated. But no problem. You can always watch the VOD because I'll be uploading it to YouTube.
Hey, look what I found! Congratulations, guys!
Okay, now we got Vandom. Vandom is not a very difficult fight. There's a few things I do which make this fight very consistent. Some of the other runners use tier 1s for this fight, but I use volcano strats. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to dolphin spin Zuo. You're gonna get the pots, break, and then target Zuo. And then usually here Rex will anchor shot because Zuo is broken. And then Tora missed the topple there, which would have given me more potions and damage, but it's fine. And normally I would use an acrobatic bomber to kill Zuo here, but I actually have a lot of damage right now, so I can skip that. Save my acrobatic bomber for Vandom here. And get the break here, which is very nice because I'll be able to get a double stack volcano on Vandom, which essentially is gonna mean that he's gonna get obliterated. And while that happens, I want to target you and then pop Rex's and pop Corbin's special. And while that happens, I want to finish off you. So that was a very, very fast fight. EST. I have quite a few friends from PST, so I'm used to streaming at about this time. It's not too late for PST. Yeah, also because 9 p.m. EST is 9 a.m. over here where I live. But yeah, that's a very consistent strat. Basically, some of the other runners, I think Enel, Leon, and I don't know, probably Shem. They use tier 1s exclusively because it's easier to get AoE on tier 1, and ideally if you get a very good fight, I think tier 1 could be faster if you get very good AoEs. But generally I use Volcano because it's a lot more consistent. You get a lot more damage from the blade combo, as well as if you get the double stack, you get even more damage. Is Corset's fusion combo buff party-wide or no? Is it? I actually don't know. I think it only I think it applies party-wide. Yeah, it's like Nims. It's like Nims. No, as long as Corset takes part in the fusion combo, I think you get the bonus. It's like Nim's passive. It's like Nim's skill. Nim also has a similar skill that increases fusion combo effect. But yeah, as long as Corset takes part in the fusion combo, I believe you do get the bonus. Yeah, Corset has a skill that increases your fusion combo effect. So not only does it increase the damage, so let's say breaks normally give you 50% extra damage, Corset's gonna give you even more damage on top of that 50%. She's also going to increase the time extension to your blade combos. She's gonna increase the party gauge you gain from getting breaks and stuff, fusion combos, by a lot. So overall, this is a very good skill that Corset has. It's called Alchemy Adept. So I used to do a different menu on this. I used to aggro one monster in this split and then teach Gathering Sparks level 2 plus Dolphin Spin level 2. But now I shifted to after the Arden, and you're gonna see why later.
The enemy's element is now fire.
But here Vandom will automatically slot himself into your party, and this is where Rex gains the ability to topple with Anchor Shot. So this is why he always uses Anchor Shot when an enemy is broken, even beforehand. But it's very simple here. You want to go Dolphin Spin, Acrobatic Bomber into your tier 1, which does have a near 100% of breaking this enemy. Then we want to get rid of potions. Vandom launches, which is nice. It's going to give me extra damage. Corset also has a passive, which increases damage done to launched enemies by a very large percent. So once I see the launch there, I immediately went for a Dolphin Spin on the launch to get a lot more damage in. And yeah, I'm gonna go for an Acrobatic Bomber here. Into my tier 2, Rex is gonna topple, which is going to finish off this enemy. So that was a decent fight. Sometimes if you have a lot of damage, if you have a lot of damage, you don't even need the topple. I didn't need a topple there because I had a lot of extra damage, but it's whatever. So now I'm gonna do another menu. Same menu, roughly the same menu which I did before, but with a bit of extra steps. So again, now I've Gathering Sparks level 2, I'm gonna unlock it by going to across that affinity chart. I'm gonna swap Vandom with Tora. And then I'm gonna level up Dolphin Spin to level 2, which will give me an increased chance to get 2 pots, so double the pots. I'm gonna equip the Colorful Feather on Rex and then take out the Knob-on Mask from Tora. So this is very important for the setup. So the Colorful Feather gives Rex aggro from the start of battle. And this is very important because it's gonna make Rex a lot more likely to be targeted, which is gonna be quite safe for it's gonna make this next fight very safe. And this fight is kind of trolly sometimes. Sometimes the spider likes to wombo combo you. And as this attack called Termination Blast, which deals like a buttload of damage. So if it combos you, sometimes you don't get a heal in time, and it can be very dangerous, especially if you take a lot of damage. So that's why I give the Colorful Feather Rex, to make it so that he takes most of the attacks. And I also put Tora in the party for the extra Affinity Barrier, and then also Hunter's Chemistry, which will allow us to do more damage faster, get more arts recharge. So you want to use your Rex's tier 2 when it's up, before he swaps to Corvin, because he likes to do that sometimes. And right now, after Queen Bomb, I'm gonna make sure I heal right up, because he's gonna Termination Blast here. Yeah, it does a lot of damage there. And after this break, essentially I have enough damage with a tier 3. If you don't get a break, you can wait for a tier 4. So yeah, I always tend to take this fight very safely. Some of the other runners will do this fight a bit riskier by taking more aggro with Nia, but getting their special up faster. Now you want to work back. And there's a little spot here. If you jump off at this angle, you can actually trigger the cutscene immediately, which I get here, and it's very nice. And having Tora for this fight is actually slightly slower than Vandom, because Poppy's tier 1 is slower in the chain attack. But with the Hunter's chemistry, Rex actually does manage to get full max affinity with Corvin a lot more often. So normally you want to break on this fight, but if you don't get a break, it's fine, as long as you have like at least 3 potions. So once I get 4 potions, I chain, and Corvin just gets max affinity with Rex right before I chain. So I'm gonna get a lot more extra damage with Corvin right here, just because he's at max affinity with Rex. And that's super nice, because not only is it going to... it's not really important for killing Echoes here, because I'm gonna have enough damage regardless with the number of potions I have with cross-tech. But it's gonna give me a lot more overkill, because once I get the once I start the overkill here, Rex is going to... I'm gonna get all 6 hits of Lucerna Noctis here on Echoes, and with max affinity, Rex does so much damage that I get above 300% overkill. And in chain attacks, your rewards, such as your XP and SP, are multiplied by your overkill. So having a large overkill there is very nice, because it gives you more levels and gives you more skill points for later. And normally if you don't have max affinity, your overkill would be in the 250 to 300 range. Not exactly 300, but it's like less than that. It's like 250 range. So yeah, I like having Tora for this chain attack. So the upcoming fights, we actually used to use Vandom as well, but there's another strat which you can use Tora. I believe Enel and Leon both use Tora, whereas Shem uses Vandom. And Gren used to use Vandom, now uses Tora because Gren also started doing the Poppy Swap menu. And the reason why we use Tora is because of the Hunter's chemistry, which will allow us to get our max affinity a lot faster. Strictly speaking though, Vandom is faster if you get a launch. So if you manage to break Zeke, Rex topples, and then Vandom happens to use Muscle Uppercut, which will launch Zeke, then Vandom will become faster to use in the fight as compared to Tora. But the Tora fight is a lot more stable because you have a lot more luxury to get potions, and yeah, basically you have more chances to get potions. So even if you don't get a fusion kill, sometimes you can still kill if you have enough potions. So I don't get a break here, which is unfortunate, but it doesn't really matter that much as long as I have enough potions and if I manage to get a break later. So I collect potions here, collect more potions. I already have max affinity with cross-set here. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get a double stack here. I get a break, which is nice. So Heat goes on to the break, and then I'm gonna use tier 4. I don't get a double stack, but Rex topples anyway, which is actually less damage than a double stack, but because I have so many potions, it's still enough to kill. And that's nice because I'm able to get a fusion kill on Zeke for more for 50% extra XP. So here's the first instance of zombie hover that we do. I hold the zombie hover for about 2 seconds before I skip the cutscene, which will allow me to not die from fall damage here. I swapped to Nia just to make the falling animation a bit faster. But yeah, so again, tier 4 is kind of bugged when it comes to fusion combos. Burnout actually does give you extra XP, but Volcano doesn't. So if you kill with a fusion combo Volcano, you actually don't get enough. You actually don't get extra XP. Something that I've noticed from running. But Burnout does give you extra XP, which is why I try to use Burnout instead of Volcano. But if Rex goes to Corvin, you have to use Volcano. But it's fine as well. So a little movement tech here. You want to swap to Crossette before you jump up that second ledge. Because usually Jormark doesn't manage to jump up for some reason. Because his sprite's very buggy. So by swapping to Crossette, you can jump up there more consistently. And now we're gonna do another clip. We're gonna do clips a few times throughout the run. This is the second clip that we do. We call it the Tardigate skip or Tardigate clip. The game intends for you to do a field skill check and remove all the water, but you can actually just clip through here by swapping characters. So you go into the corner and then you swap your characters. What this does is that it actually shifts Jormark's sprite upwards, and this, when done in conjunction with moving in the direction of the corner of the gate there, actually clips Jormark's sprite into the wall, and then from there you can just move forward and clip right off the wall, off the wall on the other side. And one nice thing about having the colorful feather on Rex is that normally we would avoid this unique monster here. So unique monsters are like salvage monsters. Even though you have aggro turned off, they can still aggro you. And this unique monster is kind of dangerous because he has an attack that can deal extra damage from the back and the side. So if Nia takes if he attacks Nia, sometimes you can die, from what I heard. So I've always just avoided it. But since Rex has the colorful feather, he's gonna draw aggro from the start of the fight. So that means you're just able to run past that unique monster. And you get to hear the territorial roadbard music. And it's nice because it saves you from having to aggro one extra enemy later for gathering sparks level 3. So it saves you like 1 second, I guess. So apart from the colorful feather, there's also the Nopon mask, so which functions similarly but also not too similarly. So essentially it also does give you aggro, but instead of giving you aggro from the start of the battle, the Nopon mask, which Tora comes with automatically equipped, it gives you aggro accumulation throughout the entire battle. So as the battle progresses, you get more aggro. But as opposed to the colorful feather, the Nopon mask doesn't give you aggro when you aggro an enemy. When you start aggroing an enemy or when enemy aggros you. Only when you draw your weapon do you start accumulating aggro. So you're not able to use Nopon mask to get past unique monsters like that. Only colorful feather. But we wanted to take out the Nopon mask from Tora just now to set up for one of the fights later, where I'll be doing relatively... It's not really new, it's been used in other categories, but it's new in this category. But first we got a fight against the Violent Driver. Nice thing about having colorful feather in Rex as well is that he always draws the somersault kick here, which is a blowdown. It's annoying if it goes on Nia, because if it interrupts your break guard, it's very bad. So yeah, same thing as the Ardent fight. He also has a very high chance of getting broken, nearly 100%. So it's the same thing, just get pots. Nice thing, somersault kick does go into Rex again. Usually it goes into Nia, Gonna get more potions here, and this is gonna be able to finish the fight. So get a very good fight here. And then after this fight, yeah, the Violent Driver. After that fight, you can go to the shop here. And you're gonna want to buy every single thing here, which will look strange, but it will make sense in a while. Then you want to sell one legendary core crystal for some money. Then you can go back and purchase this deeds here, which appears after you purchase everything. So the deeds is it's a key item which increases your movement speed by 5%. And this is the first one you can get that increases movement speed. And it's very easy to get, and you can get it very early in the run. So throughout the course of the run, it saves a few minutes, because there's so much running. So it's very useful. Definitely want to get it. There's actually another one in later on in the run, but that one takes longer to get, and there's not much more running from that point. There's not enough running from that point onwards to make it worth it, so it got routed out, from what I heard. Of course, I started running after it got routed out, so now got fight against Mackos. So this is fight against both Malos and Akkos. And this is regarded as one of the hardest fights in the entire speedrun, namely the first phase. It's never routed in, but I grab it 100%. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, Grant mentioned it to me before. Said something about it not being worth it.
It's an adventurous life for me.
But anyway, phase 1 of Mackos is considered by a lot of runners to be the hardest fight in this run. And there's good reason for that. It's because they have a lot of reactions they can do to you. Knockback, break, topple, blow down. No, not blow down, but shackle driver, shackle blade. All of which will interrupt your specials and interrupt your arts. So it's very annoying. Nice thing for us, we have Hunter's Chemistry, which is going to allow us to get our arts up faster. And also the Affinity Max Barrier of Tora, which sometimes actually does come in clutch. So the strat here is to use your Dolphin Spin and then use an art and immediately cancel into your tier 1. And start to build up to your tier 3 or tier 4 exclusively with Dolphin Spin and only heal when necessary. The reason for this, why you don't want to use Acrobatic Bomber and why you don't want to use Healing Circle, is because both of them draw a lot of aggro with the damage they deal and the AoE. Healing Circle actually draws a lot of aggro. So I use Burnout Mackos, and notice what I do here. I use a Healing Circle just before Checkmate goes up, and this is going to give me the last bit of special gauge I need to charge up my tier 4 while Checkmate is expiring. And this is going to allow me to end the first phase very quickly. I actually didn't even need to go for an Acrobatic Bomber there, because I believe I had 7 potions. So you want 5 potions minimum for this phase, otherwise you probably will not be able to kill Akkos and you will need to chain. So this second phase of the fight, the Colorful Feather and Rex here really makes a big difference, because otherwise you would need to yeet Tora off the cliff. And this is also why you don't want to knock on Mask on Tora. So with the Colorful Feather and Rex, Malos will automatically aggro Rex, and you want to set up here so he'll yeet himself off the cliff. Then you want to come over here and wait for Akkos to run over. And you want to set Akkos up as close to the edge of the cliff as possible. So once he's about there, I will engage with Akkos and start to build up to my tier 2. I'm gonna run up as close to him as possible to make him step back with his Flash of Steel and auto attacks. And once he turns to the side and starts to use Skewer, you want to go into Corbin's tier 2 immediately. And this will knock him back off the screen. And I jump off here because it looks funny. And oh no, I die! Look, and start bouncing. Yeah. So that's the new strat that we use for this category. It's used in other categories as well, but recently got introduced to DLC. But very, very fast fight. The downside is you don't get the extra XP from the original strat, which is to use a acrobatic bomber to get a break and into your cross-sets tier 2 while Rex topples, and then immediately nuclear blast after that to get a topple stacked nuclear blast, which would AoE both Echoes and Mallows to kill them both. But of course that strategy is highly dependent on getting a break if you want a very fast fight, otherwise you have to chain. So this strategy is not dependent on a break, although the trade-off is that you get less XP, as I mentioned, and sometimes if you get unlucky, Echoes will resist your knockback and you don't get to push him off, which is very annoying. And if that happens, you want to try to you can try again when he uses Cruel World, or you just have to do it the old-fashioned way and try to kill him in a chain or something. Okay, so now we start to do the gacha part of the run. You want to send your blade on a merc mission, and now you have 1 minute of downtime, where you can do absolutely nothing except pull blades. And I get an electric blade, so that's kind of troll. Okay, so I see my pitted group, and I notice I'm in the Azami pitted group. So Nim is a guarantee blade here, and nice electric blade again, so I could have gotten enough earth blades if both of them were earth. But basically, okay, you need you need 2 fire blades, 1 wind blade, 3 earth blades, and then ideally you want Boreas, Perun, Keen Eye, and Leaping if you have Perun. So I get Gork here's a Keen Eye blade. And my general strat here is to start pulling a Nia until I get 2 fire blades or 1 fire, 1 wind blade. So once I get Nim here, which is guaranteed because she's in the same pity group. And Godfrey here is not useful. Pity group wants the best because it's guaranteed Boreas. Boreas is the best blade to pull here because Boreas saves you about 2 minutes in having to, because he has Knob on Wisdom level 1. So it allows you to skip getting Knob on Wisdom level 3 and Poppy, which takes about 2 minutes. So once I pull 2 fire blades on Nia, I go to Rex. And basically I'm trying to pull the rest of the blades here, the earth blades. Try to pull Boreas, Perun, stuff like that. I get a fire blade on Rex, and I get a wind blade on Rex. So I want to try to pull some nice fire blades here. I could pull fire katana, which is good. You want to pull fire and water non-healer blades here. Because you're going to use them on Rex for combos later. And healer blades are annoying because it changes Rex's AI so that he takes your potions, which obviously you want. So having having attacker blades there or non-healer blades is better. And katanas and lances are the best because Rex gets a breakout along with those. So I get an earth blade here. This is my second earth blade, so I need 1 more earth blade. And up to this point I still don't have Boreas and I still don't have Perun. So I'm kind of annoyed right now, especially by not getting enough earth blades here. And the blades come in groups, so it's fire, water, ice, wind, and earth, electric. So basically it means that the 2 electric blades I got at the start of the blade pools could have been earths. But yeah, now I'm pulling on rare blades. I pull legendary core crystals until I have about 3 or 4 left, because I need to sell those for money later. And then I start pulling on rare blades, rare cores, because I still want to get Boreas and Perun. And those give me a higher chance. I get another electric blade, which is very annoying because I only need 1 more earth blade. At this point, I only need 1 more earth blade until I'm done with my elements. So there's my last earth blade. So once I get the last earth blade, I'm basically done with the gacha. And it really sucks that I don't have Boreas and Perun right now, because if I did pull Boreas and Perun, that would have saved me close to 3 minutes. Because Boreas is 2-minute time save and Perun's a 1-minute time save later. And I'll probably explain why later, why Perun and Boreas are important. Well, Boreas I've already explained why. It's because you need one more level of Knock-on Wisdom. But yeah, the reason why I decided to go without Boreas and Perun is that I don't want to take the chance of not getting Boreas or Perun from the rest of the rare blades. Because at this point I will still save a bit of time from the blade pulls, even though I will lose a lot of time to Boreas.
The adventure continues.
So at this point I'm still about 42 seconds ahead.
And arrived.
So even if I have to, if I don't get Boreas, I won't be too far behind my PB once everything is done. So I decided to just go without Boreas for this run. Not having Perun sucks as well, but you very rarely get Perun anyway, so it's fine. We're used to not having to get Perun, or we're used to not having Perun. Unless your name is Anel and you always get Perun or something. I feel like Anel always gets Perun in all his PB runs. My PB runs I never get Perun. But yeah, anyway, more about that chapter 3. I finished with a time of 1:14:06 for Mackos. So that comes up to about 1:14:14 to 1:14:15 chapter 3 split. Which is very good. Essentially it means that if I didn't have to get extra puzzle tree wood, I would have gotten a 13-minute chapter 3. Which is insane, because like sub 15 chapter 3 is already considered very good.
So, shall we?
So now we're back in Argentum. And gotta run a few errands. Keep in mind, I have to get one more level of Knock-on Wisdom from Poppy, so eventually I'm gonna have to go back and talk to those Knock-ons. So there's an optimal time later, which will be after the bandits. And because I give 2 extra life sources to Poppy, I actually will save time despite not getting Warriors. So by giving 2 life sources to Poppy in chapter 2, you can talk to 5 fewer Knock-ons, because you talk to Umon once, you talk to the Colorful Feather shopkeeper once, you talk to the Knick-Knack Deeds shopkeeper once, and then you talk to this Knock-on to go to Moradane twice. So you can talk to 5 fewer Knock-ons, which does save you like maybe 15 seconds or something. And then on top of that, you save menuing. So the overall time saves about 20 to 30 seconds.
We're here.
So, shall we?
As opposed to not giving 2 life sources to Poppy. So yeah, you want to jump off this place here and land on the boxes. Which is the most optimal path to trigger this cutscene. So you want to talk to the Knock-on shopkeepers after the bandits, because you spawn very close to them. And there's a backup vegetable spot which you can get here in the Clume farm if you don't have enough vegetables. It gives you a minimum of 2 vegetables, so if you're at 10 vegetables or more, 10 or 11 vegetables, you can go and get that spot. If you're below 10, I probably would just warp back to Dawnview Grotto before going back to Umon Shipyard just now. You know, we're gonna knock at the timber site to talk to Otto here. And game intends you to solve it yourself, but you can actually just talk to him and ask for help for some reason. And now you want to warp to Umon Shipyard, which would put you right in the cutscene trigger. And one thing after this is that instead of running to Umon Shipyard, you want to warp back to Umon Shipyard because you actually get placed further away from where you spawn. So by warping back, is actually slightly faster. It's not by a whole lot, but it's a bit faster.
The adventure continues.
And for this fight, you want to try to get as much AoE as you can on the birds. The Feather and Rex here also helps, because if you don't have the knock-on mask on Tora, and no Feather and Rex, they will all target in the end, you might die. So yeah. Get some decent AoE, and then I finish off the last bird with Dolphin Spin there. I believe that wasn't too bad of a fight. And right after this, you want to go to the Boulder Gate so that you can go and fight the bandits. And over here, you want to aggro one monster, and this will give you a Gathering Sparks level 3 after the bandits. I think it's better to aggro one here. You can. I usually used to. I used to aggro one before Mordane, but sometimes the game does bug out and doesn't count one of your fights for some reason. So I think it's better to aggro the one here. So in case you don't get Gathering Sparks level 3 after the bandits, you can aggro the one in Mordane. So yeah, I aggro this one here. Which should be enough to give me Gathering Sparks level 3 after the bandits. And this fight's also pretty simple. It's kind of like a rehash of Vandam fight. Except Vandam's a lot more tanky compared to Zoo and Yu, whereas Benjamin here isn't super tanky. But most of it's still the same. Instead of using Volcano, now you use tier 1s. It's the same, you want to target. And then Rex will topple Grzek here for more potions. And then you want to try to get as much AoE as you can with your tier 1, so that's why I start targeting Benjamin here. And I use Acrobatic Bomber, which will AoE Grzek as well, and then tier 1 should be able to kill him. So yeah, Benjamin's pretty much gonna die, so I start targeting Zuo. I mean, I start targeting Joe while the rest kill Benjamin. Yeah, the tier 1 here will be able to kill him. Very nice. So there's a very nice fight. Very close to my gold fight, actually. So yeah, you see how I swapped targets there to Benjamin because I knew Grzek was gonna die to the AoE anyway. So that's something you can consider doing as well to save time. But sometimes Grzek will get his Axe Break off, which will taunt everyone, so you have no choice but to target Grzek. And yeah, I get Gathering Sparks here. And now I want to start talking to the Nopon. I want to jump onto the platform again and then start talking to them. So up to this point, we've talked to five Nopons so far. So I need to talk to them 34 times. So this is just 2 minutes of me. It's not really 2 minutes, I guess. Well, yeah, okay, let's just say it's 2 minutes. It's like 2 minutes of me just talking to Nopons here. We've talking to 5 Nopons like 15 seconds, so 15 times 7. It's like 105 here. It's about slightly more than 1.5 minutes. Oh no, I made a mistake just now. I said it was 5 Nopons. Yeah, it's 5 Nopons. Excluding the one you talked to go to Moradine, that only counts as 1. You also talked to 1 before coming to Argentum. So I talked to 34 here, which would give me 39 total Nopons. And then once I go to Moradine, I'll talk to that Nopon again. That will give me number 40. So giving 2 left sources to Poppy, that's about a 4-second investment. But it saves you 20 to 30 seconds in case you don't get Boreas. Which, it's pretty worth it to me. And that's excluding the time you save having to menu to some of the menus later. You have to take one extra menu to check, or take a few extra seconds to check Poppy's chart, but you also save one extra menu to having to equip warriors. So once we talk to this Nopon, that's gonna give us the last Nopon that we need for Nopon Wisdom level 3. So once I reach Mordane here, I should have gotten Nopon Wisdom level 3. If you don't, you can talk to someone like Mui Mui, who is in Mordane. Yeah, if Nopon Wisdom level 3, that's fine. And if you don't have Gathering Sparks level 3 at this point, you want to aggro one monster before you get to Mordane. So if you don't know, you level up Gathering Sparks by engaging in battles alongside Pyra and Mithra, and this only counts if Crosset is your main blade. So if you're on Dromark and you aggro, it doesn't count. So I targeted that monster there, but I think I only did it just to check my levels, because I didn't need to aggro it. But levels here can matter a bit, because we used to go to, well, the route used to go to the inn to level up before this next boss fight, but now we skip that because it's a lot faster. It's very slow to take the inn. But the reason why you wanted to go to the inn is because to get extra HP for this upcoming boss fight, because this next boss fight, she does so much damage and it's just a nightmare to go up against at low levels. Level 23 is kind of like the bare minimum we should want to go in most of the times. I've been able to do it with level 22, but the margin for error is very, very slim. So level 23 gives you a bit more wiggle room when it comes to HP. It gives you about 80 more HP, which does matter. And then you want to craft Hunter's Chemistry here. This is going to give you Gold Affinity very quickly, especially because we also have one on Poppy. And Hunter's Chemistry basically gives your entire party more affinity at the start of the battle, which allows you to reach Gold Affinity very, very quickly. With 2 Hunter's Chemistry, you're essentially guaranteed to... You essentially get Gold Affinity right at the start of the battle. And Gold Affinity comes with a bunch of perks, so it increases all your arts levels by 1, which in my case, because I have Dolphin Spin level 2, at level 3 it does get decreased art cooldown. Also gives you more damage, allows you to charge up your tier 4, and there's like one more which I'm missing. It increases your movement speed, which is actually pretty useful. So yeah, Gold Affinity is just very important, which is why we always want to have that. And Crosset's tier 4 is actually much better for damage when it comes to blade combos. Just in general, it just deals a lot more damage when compared to tier 3. So you want to hold Zombie Hover here right after that loading icon fades out and fades back in. And then you want to swap off here so you can get past the steam. Otherwise, you have to go to the side. You have to make a detour and then turn off the steam, which is very, very slow. So we just do the Zombie Hover. And for this Zombie Hover, you want to hold it right after you skip the cutscene. Swap off again. And now you can swap back to Dromark. And next we do a menu. So a few things I want to highlight. Okay, the first thing is you pull Wulfric. And you want to put Wulfric on Nia because he's an attacker blade, and every attacker blade you have increases your damage by 10%. So this is important because it's just going to give Crosset more damage. And I want to swap Wulfric with Dromark. This is for more optimal rotations later. Equip Hunter's Chemistry on Wulfric and then check Crosset's chart for Gathering Sparks level 3. And I check Poppy's chart here. Normally you don't do this, but I have to do it because not on Wisdom level 3. Next you go to Rex. And you unequip everything and put one fire blade on him. And put a gear vest, ball attachment on Nia, and then Narciper Jelly. Narciper Jelly is the second thing I want to highlight. So Leon and Enel both use Whisper Quarter in this fight, which is technically faster when it comes to getting up your special, but Narciper Jelly gives you access to a more frequent potions and heals, which overall just means that this fight's a lot safer. And like I said, this fight's very, very dangerous. In fact, I consider this to be the hardest fight in the run, not Mackos one, personally. Because this fight is really is very difficult. A rocket kick does like half your HP and also interrupts you. If she rocket kicks you while you're healing, you're basically dead because she's gonna kill you before you can get your next heal up. Yeah. So you really want to make sure you're alternating between Dolphin Spin and Healing Circle here. And more about that, okay, one more thing about this fight is you want to get like 6 to 7 potions, or 6 potions. 6 to 7 potions, unless you have a break. If you have a break, it's 3 to 4 potions, but her break resistance is very high, so normally I just try to get more potions. And I already do have enough potions, so at around this 75% HP should use Ether Barrier. So once that expires, I try to go for one more break, and then I go immediately for my tier 4, which should be even enough to kill her. And the equipment, the accessories that we put on that menu, Gear Vest is something I pick up for safety. It gives Rex more HP because right now he's the squishiest member of our party, and he can get 2-shot by Lila if he is low leveled. And then ball attachment is something you put on cross-set for Nia for more damage with cross-set. It's nice because the damage is multiplicative because it affects your auto attack stat. So it's not the same increase in damage as compared to Gathering Sparks, which is an additive source.
Let's get going.
Basically, it just means that all your damage is multiplied by 1.25. And then some people will give Rex a Water Blade here, but I only give Fire Blades. I don't find Water Blade's not important for these fights, especially with this new strat we're doing on Morak. So we used to do a Mega Explosion into Chain, but now we do a Volcano into Chain, which is a lot faster because you get to skip one round of the Chain attack, and still gives you the same damage as long as you set it up properly. So you want to start off with tier 1 to build your potions, and then you want to start killing the soldiers just to reduce the overall damage on your team while keeping your teammates healthy with potions and heals. So once I get rid of all the soldiers, I want to start building on Morak. Don't need to break her now. You don't want too much aggro on Nia. So keep everyone healthy, and I want to get a topple on Morak. Over here, I go for a break, and I'm gonna get a topple stack here. You don't need a topple stack, but topple stack is just gonna give you more damage and overkill. But really what you need is just topple. So you can just get a single stack topple, that's fine. And something I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna intentionally allow the special to run down. I mean, I'm not gonna clear the button prompt, so I'm gonna get more DOT because the specials are gonna go off slower. As you can see, I'm getting a lot of DOT, and this is a 390% overkill, which is very, very big. The only caveat with the Volcano strat is that you absolutely require a break, pretty much a topple. So you need to break so that Rex can topple. Otherwise, you won't get the damage in. Whereas with the Mega Explosion strat, if you have enough potions, you don't need a break. But your overkill will be a bit gimped, but you don't need a break. So this is just one of the trade-offs. But again, you skip one round in the chain attack, which takes like maybe 10, 15, 20 extra seconds. So overall, this fight is quite a bit faster.
Let's get going.
But I was very happy because I was able to get a 390% overkill on Morak, which is very big. And now you want to hold zombie hover once you skip travel here, so you can parkour down to the barrels. If you don't have zombie hover, you have to, or not parkour down to the barrels. If you don't have zombie hover, you have to parkour by jumping on a few platforms. But with zombie hover, you can just land on here. Yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention is that zombie hover allows you to skip cutscene triggers, which is useful some places, which useful one place later. But you can't skip story flags to progress. You still need it to trigger the story flags to progress with the story. You can't skip any of the story flags. So usually we do want to be out of zombie hover state by the time we trigger those cutscenes. Or you can be on Jomark, because that's another odd thing about Jomark sprite, is that even though you're in zombie hover state, you can still trigger cutscenes as long as you're on Jomark. Okay, so now is usually when we equip Boreas, but because I don't have Boreas, I don't need to waste like 6 to 7 seconds to equip Boreas.
Onwards.
And now just talk to this NPC here, and then I already have Knob on Wisdom level 3. Can enjoy some of the Mordane music. One of the funkiest tracks in this game. Mordane music is really can't jam. I don't think there's a single person who doesn't jam to this theme. It's really good. Okay, so here are the green barrels. You need Knob on Wisdom level 3. So you have 2 on Poppy, and normally you get the last one from Boreas. But in this case, I don't have Knob on Wisdom level. I don't have Boreas, so I have to get Knob on Wisdom level 3. And this is a new strat that we do. It's called Early Heartache Dog level 2. Normally what we used to do is we used to tag Fourth Ridge entrance. And that's because tagging landmarks gives you more XP, bonus XP and SP. So we mainly want it for the SP at this point, but the XP does matter sometimes for later. But tagging Fourth Ridge entrance is kind of slow. So what we do now is that we do a zombie hover to get past this cutscene trigger in the Heartache Palace. So basically, when you enter Heartache Palace, there's a cutscene that stops you and the guard will chase you away. But by using Zombie Hover, we're able to get past this as long as we're not on Jomark. So we're able to access the second level and tag Heartache Dog level 2, which is a landmark which we're going to need to come back to later anyway. So we use this to replace the Fourth Ridge entrance in terms of the XP and SP. So I get off Jomark here so I can skip the trigger here. And now we have some downtime. Oh, I didn't play around with cross-set here. Sad. Normally, in this elevator, what I'll do is I'll zoom in and I'll start moving around with cross-set. Because I like cross-set. But yeah, what you want to do here is you want to get on Jomark. And then you want to tag Heartache Dog level 2. You want to go to Old Industrial District. Back to where the barrels were. And then you want to hold Zombie Hover once you skip travel. So that when you come out of the skip travel, you'll be in Zombie Hover state again. And then you can jump down before your next fight. And now the important part is you have to remove Zombie Hover. So if you have Boreas, what you do is you would, if it's on Nia, you would put Crosshat back over Boreas. Then you would send on the Lunch of Love mission. If you had Boreas on Rex, you don't need to do anything. You can just go directly to the Lunch of Love mission to unequip Boreas. But because I didn't have Boreas right here, I had to swap around 2 of my drivers, and then I can send Blades on the Lunch of Love mission. This is because swapping drivers around or changing your blades removes zombie hover state. So if, let's say, Boreas was on Rex, by unequipping Boreas via sending him on a merc mission, that would unequip Boreas, which would remove zombie hover state. So that's why getting Boreas on Rex is the most optimal. So I usually will pull, if I know that I'm in pity group 1, which is guaranteed Boreas, I'll start pulling on Rex. And then I'll go back to Nia if I haven't pulled the 2 blades I want on her. So this fight's very easy right now, because we're higher level, and Zeke doesn't have a very high break resistance, so we're just going to be able to driver lock him most of the time. And just get her potions. You don't need too many. And same thing, you just kind of want to build up to your tier 3. Oh, didn't break him again, but it's fine. Dynamic Spark Sword actually does a lot of damage, so you do want to keep track of your HP. So once I break him again here, fight's basically over. Once I get my tier 4 up here, I'm gonna obliterate him. Yeah, as you can see, he's just gonna melt. You don't even need the fusion combo here, but just gives you extra XP and SP. And the reason why I'm so concerned about SP right now is because I want to get a skill known as Arch Chain before the last fight of this chapter, which would allow you to speed up your fights a lot more by cancelling arts into each other. So if you've noticed, by cancelling arts at the end of auto attacks, you get extra special charge. By getting Arch Chain, you can cancel arts into each other, so you'll be able to get your specials up a lot faster, because you don't have to auto attack as nearly as much. And to get Arch Chain before the last fight in this chapter, the SP is actually pretty tight. So normally you would have to chain Rosa, but if you get a big enough overkill on Moray and then you get enough fusion kills, you can actually skip the chain on Rosa, which would save you a lot of time. So that's why I'm concerned about SP here, is that if I get enough fusion kills, notably if I get fusion kills on Lila and Rosa, Rosa being the fusion kill that gives you the most SP because she gives the most SP by default. If I have enough SP, I will be able to skip the chain on Rosa, which would save me like 40 seconds, 45 seconds. So this area is very laggy. There's nothing really you can do about it.
Hey, look what
And Turkin fight is similar to the Birds fight. Just get lots of AoE. You see me swapping around to try to get more AoE. I actually get broken like I think twice here, which is very annoying because that interrupts my arts. I believe I get I get broken again. So that's very annoying because I have to auto attack again. But I think I do get some nice AoE here with my tier 1. So I'm swapping around just to try to get more AoE. I think this acrobatic bomber will be able to kill. And then I go for... Yep. The Turkin decided to come close to me so that I walked into the AoE. So turned out to be a pretty decent fight despite getting broken twice. And now we have Lila again. But this time Lila's not as dangerous because she basically doesn't upgrade, whereas your like 6 levels higher. So her chances of killing you is very slim. As long as you keep up your HP, which is a lot easier to do now. Same thing, you want to get like 6-7 potions.
Chance of success, 60%. Rolling smash. Under attack. Under attack. Bitey, bitey, pop punk.
You're let me do it.
Under attack. Bitey, bitey, pop punk.
Heavy hitter. Sure. Stronghold.
Under attack.
Yeah, it's the same thing, just use a Mega Explosion. So we go for... I think she's gonna Ether Barrier somewhere here. Yeah. So I'm just gonna wait for the Ether Barrier to expire, then I go for a break. And charge up my tier 4. I think go for one more break. Try to get extra SP. I don't get the break, which is fine. But I have enough damage to kill anyway, because I have so many potions. It's gonna be more than enough. I believe I only need a fusion kill on Rosa at this point, because I had so much overkill on Morak. But now we're gonna do Factory Clip. And a bunch of runners have different setups for this. I use the same one as Anel because I find that it works the best for me. So I zoom in all the way and I kind of angle. And then I want to jump at a specific point, which is very hard to explain here. Jump on this door here and then land in this room here, which allows you to skip like 5 minutes or something running through the factory. So first try factory clip's very nice. And now you have the 2-phase fight against Rosa. The first phase you only have Nia and Rex. And really just want to end this phase as quickly as possible, get some potions. Try to use your tier 1. Okay, nice, the potions are spawning pretty close to each other. And if you're lucky, he doesn't use Bam Bam Rocket here. He does use Bam Bam Rocket, but I get lucky and he misses his Bam Bam Rocket, which is very nice because that means I'm able to finish the fight a lot faster. I believe one more Acrobatic Bomber here will be able to finish. I do get a useless break there. So now this phase 2 of the fight, Tora joins and he has a new form of Poppy called Poppy Cutie. Cutie is a Fire Blade, which is nice because that's gonna allow us to use Tora to combo into our Mega Explosions. So same thing, scatter some potions, use tier 1. Yeah, Rex actually does break Rosa here, but it's not the break that I need. And I think I do make a bit of a mistake here by getting too much aggro on Rosa. And then she uses Bam Bam Rocket on me. So that loses me some time because I can't do anything here. But yeah, now I'm gonna try to fish for a break. Resist the first break. It's fine, I have one more try. I go for the second break. And I decide to pop my tier 4 here because it's gonna use Spinny Spinny Beams, a blowdown art, and probably won't have time to get off another Acrobatic Bomber anyway, so I just go for it. And I don't really need too much of an overkill here, so I'm just gonna try to finish this fight as quickly as possible. So I use mid first tier 1, which is very fast, Poppy Cutie, which is also pretty fast. And I go Jomark here because Jomark has the fastest specials in the game. And my first tier 2 is gonna give me a bit more overkill. Like I said, don't need too much, just need a bit. This is actually more than enough. I only really needed a fusion kill on Rosa. which is a 1.5 times. I'm getting a 200% overkill here. So yeah, that will give me enough for Arch Chain before this next fight. And you can do this next fight without Arch Chain. It's just, with Arch Chain, it's a lot more easy. It's a lot easier.
Look what I found. Congratulations, guys. Not bad at all.
And now I want to teach Arch Chain to Nia. I teach Soothing Claw, Soothing Hand, because it's a, you need one more art to unlock the Arch Chain, and then Soothing Hand's the art that requires, or not art, drive. It's the skill that requires the least amount of SP. And then you want to put the Water Blade on Rex over the Fire. You don't want to have the Fire Blade here because you only want Rex to go into his Water Blade to combo later. And the reason for that is because Steam Explosion has an AoE effect, has an AoE radius. So you're going to be able to use that to AoE both Pachoka and Mikhail in the second phase of this fight. And this is one of the fights which I noticed that the Hunter's chemistry on Tora really makes a difference. Basically, I'm able to finish the first phase of this fight even before my second tier 1 goes off completely. Whereas in the past, I would have usually needed to use 2 tier 1s and then maybe one more acrobatic bomber, so it actually did save a bit of time here. So I'm gonna keep Tora in the fight just for the Hunter's chemistry. I used to use Morag, but it doesn't really matter, because you don't really use Morag anyway. Tora is just nicer to have now because of the Hunter's chemistry. And I get an early break on Mikhail, which is nice because it's just gonna give me more potions for damage. I want to build up to, I want to try to build up to the max number of potions here to get as much damage as I can. And then at the end, I want to use a Steam Explosion, try to use Process tier 4 to blow Mikhail down into Pachoka. So Pachoka comes close to me, which is nice. So I'm able to set up Mikhail here. And I should have tried to go for one more break here, but I was afraid of getting too much damage in. And if you kill Mikhail before the last hit of your tier 4 goes off, you won't get the Steam Explosion AoE. But in this case, it would have been fine. I do get Pachoka in the AoE, but I don't kill her I don't kill her instantly. But I still am able to finish her pretty quickly because I have so many potions. So overall, that was still a very, very good fight. First phase was very, very fast, and second phase, I was able to get my tier 4 up very quickly and AoE Pachoka. So I didn't have to spend too long to recover that fight. If you don't AoE Pachoka, normally what I would do is I would build up to a tier 4 with Crossset, and then I would use, I used to use Morax tier 1, now I guess you can use Poppy or Poppy QT. But basically, you want to use a Burnout / Volcano on ideally a break, and that should usually kill Pachoka. But ideally, what you want is the AoE. And in fact, with the number of potions that I had, I think Mikhail probably blocked some of my hits. Normally I'm pretty sure you will kill Pachoka as long as you have lots and lots of potions. So in that case, I actually did under damage a bit, but that's not big of a deal. I actually was able to kill Pachoka very quickly afterwards anyway. So now I want to start aggroing 5 monsters, and this will give me Gathering Sparks level 4. And the reason why I want to get Gathering Sparks level 4 is because at the end of this chapter, there's a gauntlet of 3 bosses. And the last fight in particular against the core is very BES, and basically it's just a fight where it's very annoying to fight because you want to get potions, but the potions spawn really far away, and you're on a timer because if you don't kill it quickly, it will use Razor Thread and then Shackle Blade. And then also to get the fastest kill, you also really are just depending on the break / topple. And on top of that, its break resist is very, very high. So it's just an absolute terror to fight against. Not that it's very likely to kill you or anything. It's just that if you don't get lucky, you lose quite a bit of time. Basically. So that's why I like to have Gathering Sparks level 4 for that gauntlet, just to make it a bit more consistent if I don't get a break. Which I usually don't go for. I usually just try to get potions and try to kill it without potions. If I get a break, it's just a bonus. I'm able to save a bit of time.
Just so.
But yeah, I want to aggro 5 monsters total in this chapter. And then Zeke will give me the last encounter that I need to get the Gathering Sparks level 4. But actually something that happened in this run was that I think the game was bugging out again and it didn't count one of my encounters up to this point. So actually what happened was that I didn't get Gathering Sparks level 4, which was kind of annoying, but in the end it didn't matter too much anyway. I think it at max cost me like a couple of seconds here and there. Maybe max like 10 seconds. Like it didn't cost me like too much time, but it was very annoying nonetheless. I scrambled a bit to try to get it, but I didn't manage to get Gathering Sparks level 4. So I rolled with Gathering Sparks level 3 for the gauntlet. Yeah, but normally what I would do is I would try to set up in a way such that I would get Gathering Sparks level 4, and then in the menu that we do before the gauntlet, I would unlock Gathering Sparks level 4. So in this case I didn't get it, so I had to unlock Gathering Sparks level 4 after the gauntlet. But yeah, here's the 4th, and I'm gonna add one more later to make that 5, and Zeke will normally give me the 6th encounter that I need. The last encounter that I need. But probably moving forward, for this chapter, I'll probably just aggro until I get everything. Just to make sure that the game doesn't bug out on me again. Because, again, the gauntlets, the court fights is really annoying. So I tend to just take any advantage that I can have with Gathering Sparks. Normally, with a break, you need like 2 to 3 potions. Without a break, you want like 5 to 6 potions to kill. And you don't even get to kill consistently with 5 to 6 potions at Gathering Sparks level 3. At level 4 even. So imagine what it's like at level 3. Probably depends on the number of crits you get and stuff like that. If you're tier 4. But yeah, anyway, after that I aggro this one last one, which normally should be enough, but in this case, again, it wasn't. And this section, actually, you can go on a bathroom break if you want to. Because this section is just one straight line of running for about 1 minute. Or more than a minute. So, if you really need to go to the bathroom or do something, you can just set up to run in a straight line as long as you don't run into any pillars. You can just set up to run in a straight line and then you can go and do your business, then come back in about a minute or so. This is one of the 2 points in the run which you can reasonably do that. The other being in chapter 9.
And arrived.
All in one piece.
But yeah, right now we're just gonna head to Fonset Village to visit everyone again, because Rex is from Fonset Village. And he's a good boy, he sends money to Fonset Village all the time. And the commission that we received in chapter 1, we got the 100,000 forward payment. Rex sent 90% of that back to Fonset Village, because he's a very good boy. And yeah, Rex is very special because he's a descendant of Adam, who was a hero that fought in the Aegis War 500 years ago and was the original driver of the Aegis. Pyra and Mithra, or actually Mithra. Pyra was a persona or alternate self that Mithra created after the Aegis War. Very, very interesting backstory. Definitely do go and check Xenoblade 2 out. And a lot of this backstory is actually explained in the DLC Torna, which is a fantastic DLC, by the way. It's a $30 DLC, but you get so much more features in the base game. Plus, you get an entirely new game because the Torna DLC is a separate game in itself with a different combat system and lots of different blades and drivers you can use. Completely different world. And just overall, just a banger of a DLC. Really bang for your buck. Can really feel the love that Monolith Soft put into this game. And yeah, music over there is an absolute banger as well. Super, super good. I actually do want to run Torna at some point. So attack Corine's house so you can warp back here. Fun fact, I actually didn't know that this was faster. I never realized it. I learned it from watching Mutski, who learned it from watching Gren. So we're all just learning from each other, which is very nice. It's really nice to see that the whole community is just learning from each other when it comes to strats. So now swap Nia with Rex now. Once you get her back in your party. And this is kind of the last this is the last fight you have before you leave Leftheria here. And it's against Zeke. So the fight's actually pretty simple, but can sometimes trouble you if you don't get a break. You can mitigate it somewhat by getting many potions. But essentially what you want to do is you just want to do either steam Mega Explosion or Steam Explosion on a break. If you don't have a break, you really
All in one piece.
want to get as many potions as you can, because if you don't kill Zeke, he's going to wombo combo you and you die.
Just do what we always do.
Yep. And early break here, which is nice because it's just gonna give me more potions. So I believe I have 5 potions right now. 7 is the max you can stack at this point. Yeah, I believe this is the last. So yeah, once I got the break, I just waited for burnout to go up, and then I'm able to get tier 4 on the topple here, which is going to completely incinerate Zeke here. So that's a very fast fight, very good fight. And immediately after entering Indol is when I would usually get Gathering Sparks level 4. But in this case I didn't, so I was panicking. Not really panicking, I was just kind of confused. Because the game decided to glitch out on me again. But yeah, usually you get Alchemy Depth level 3 and then you get Gathering Sparks level 4. So I really don't know why this time I didn't get my Gathering Sparks level 4. Again, normally it's very normal. Normally I would get it here. But yeah, this section, this chapter 5 is the chapter with one of the chapters with the most downtime. There's a lot of walking through Leftheria and Indol, just talking to people and doing cutscenes and stuff, story exposition. And yeah, the knick-knack deeds that we picked up in chapter 3 really does start to add up in chapters like these, where you're running around so much. But I actually think it's a nice change of pace in the speedrun, because basically chapter 3 and 4 are very stressful. There's Mackos at the end of chapter 3, and then chapter 4 is just an absolute Just an absolute clown fest of bad RNG. First you start off with the blade pools, and then you have Lila 1, which is a very terrible fight, and then Morak can sometimes troll you if you don't get a break, and Morak herself also deals a lot of damage. So if you take too much aggro, she can kill you. And then Lila 1, Lila 2 is fine. Rosa is not a bad fight, but it's kind of like core in a way that to get a very fast fight, usually you want a fusion kill. Usually you need a fusion kill to get the SP. And then Pat Mick is not very difficult, but if you don't get the AoE, it can be annoying because you have to spend extra time to kill Patroka. So chapter 4 is just overall a very stressful chapter. On top of that, you have the factory clip,
And where you?
which I got it first try this run, but believe me, sometimes you don't get it first try, and it's very stressful if you have to repeat it. Can be a snowball effect sometimes. Speaking of which, I ended with a 156 chapter 4, despite not having Boreas, which is actually very crazy. I essentially broke even with my PB chapter 4. So I only lost just under 40 seconds, despite the fact that Boreas is roughly a 2-minute time loss. So overall, my chapter 4, disregarding the fact that I didn't have Boreas, was actually very, very good. The only bad thing I could say was that my Rosa fight I didn't get a joint combo finish on Rosa, which meant that I had to chain for Arch Chain. But even then, my chain was very fast. So overall, a very decent chapter 4. Again, only Rosa and Boreas were the blemishes on that chapter. Otherwise, I would have gotten a 55, maybe even a 54 Rosa, which would be absolutely crazy. I mean, 54 chapter 4. Yo, Real Flatico, 1 year, Pago. Thank you so much for the 1 year sub. I appreciate it so much. It reminds me, maybe I should get extra sub badges for 1 year. I'm gonna get a cultured Kate plus chubby Kate maybe for my sub badges. Should have commissioned those actually. Thank you so much for the support. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you're doing very well. Okay, so zombie hover here. You want to hold it right as you skip the cutscene. And then you let go when she falls, and then when she starts shouting like the IE part, the E part of the scream, you want to start holding zombie hover again. And that will allow you to spawn into Temperentia with zombie hover. Immediately after that, you want to get the beta scope from the chest at the side. And the beta scope is very important because it's going to decrease enemy break resistance by a flat amount. So in this case, it's going to be 25%. So you're going to have increased 25% chance to break enemies. I'm doing well, Ruthatico. Thank you for asking. I got this PB yesterday, so I'm very happy. Okay, over here I was scrambling a bit because I wanted to get Gathering Sparks level 4, but basically I felt that I didn't have time to do so because while in zombie hover state, I'm not going to be able to jump around unless I'm on drone mark, and when I aggro an enemy, I cannot switch blades, so I decided to just forego Gathering Sparks level 4 there and do the movement as per normal. So you want to swap out the drone mark swap off of drone mark before the cutscene here to skip this cutscene. And then you want to swap back to drone mark right around here to tag Overlook Hill. You want to skip this cutscene trigger because it triggers a death plane, which means that once you cross a certain point
All in one piece.
on the x-axis, you will instantly die. So right, yeah. But by skipping that cutscene and that death plane trigger, you are able to drop down here with zombie hover. And we're gonna exploit this by going to get some very strong starships called the Shining Starships. So these are endgame starships. Temperentia is an endgame area with a lot of the like endgame bosses, very strong courtships and stuff like that.
All in one piece.
So we're gonna get those, and that's why you need 3 Earth Blades, because you need Earth Mastery level 4 for plus Fortitude level 2. So Fortitude level 2 you get from Crossette and Poppy QT. But Earth Mastery level 4, you only have level 1 from Wolfric, so you need 3 extra Earth Mastery from the from Earth Blades. So right now I get the Lunch of Love mission back, which is going to give me Hunter's Chemistry again. I'm going to try to get another one. We want 2 of those. And now I'm going to overdrive blades. I'm going to overdrive 1 Earth Blade to Rex. He already has 1, so it's fine. Overdrive 2 Earth Blades to Zeke. And then I want to set up Morak by giving her 1 Wind Blade and then give her the Kenai Blade, which in this case is Gorg, and I'm having trouble finding Gorg for some reason. And I lost quite a bit of time here because I was just scrambling around looking for Gorg. And if you have Perun here, you want to give Morak Perun as well as 1 Leaping Blade. And then I want to put Corvin and the Earth Blade on Rex to set up for the next menu, and then put the 2 Earth Blades on Zeke. So right now I have 3 Earth Blades total in my party. So even though Zeke's not in my active party, the blades that he has on him also count towards field skill checks. So we're just gonna put the 2 Earth Blades on Zeke and leave it there for the remainder of the run. And then once we're done, we can get this. Give us the Shining Starships, again very strong Starships. You're gonna see that our auto attack stats gonna increase massively.
Gimme, gimme.
Like in auto attack stats, the base damage that all your damage is based on. A base value that all your damage is based on. Here I scramble around trying to look for monsters to aggro for Gathering Sparks level 4, but wasn't able to find one, so I just decided to go without it. So normally there, once I check Crossette chart, I'll have Gathering Sparks level 4, which will give me more damage per potion, but in this case I don't have it. But the rest of the menu, I give Shining Starships to Crossette and Corvin, obviously, because they're very large damage dealers. I give it to Bridget, which is going to increase her tanking ability, because the more damage Bridget does, the better Morak is able to keep aggro. And then I remove all the blades from Rex except for Pyra, because I only want Pyra for the next few fights for blade combos. I teach a couple of skills to Morak, Arts Chain and also Initiative, which gives her access to immediate access to arts at the start of the battle without having to build them up. I actually didn't need to teach Muscle Builder to Rex there. It's just muscle memory from a menu I used to do. And then I put Beta Scope on Nia and then Colorful Feather on Morak. So this is gonna give Morak aggro at the start of battle and also give Nia increased break resistance. So Ball Attachment and Beta Scope are gonna be Nia's accessories for the rest of the run, because they're essentially the best accessories that we can have on Nia. Ball Attachment for Crossette and Beta Scope for the increased break chance, which again is very important because breaks are the bread and butter of our fights. Getting breaks means getting more damage. So this fight, you want to start everyone on the core to take the aggro, and then you want to only have Nia target the lines here. You're gonna get 3 potions, and then once you build up to your tier 4, you want to target, you want to focus everyone on the lines and then use Morak's or Rex's tier 1. So I'm very unlucky here, I only get 2 potions. I don't manage to get the last one. I go for the lines with 2 potions. which turned out to be a pretty bad decision. I maybe would have benefited from going for one more dolphin spin. I missed the lines with my acrobatic bomber, which was super unlucky. So I need to wait for the DOT to tick down here. So that was pretty slow, and along with all the extra fumbling around I did and the slow menuing looking for Gorg and stuff, I actually lost 30 seconds in that split, which is 30 seconds I shouldn't have lost. Now this next fight against Jin is not too much of an issue unless you don't get any breaks. So I get the breaks here, which is nice because that's gonna give me extra pots and it's gonna driver lock Jin, so he's not gonna be able to do anything. So I'm gonna get potions here. I run away from the Skyward Slash here. You don't want to get Skyward Slash, by the way, if possible. Because it's gonna drop your affinity and make it so that you aren't able to charge up your tier 4 and also decrease your damage. But because you have the Shining Starships here, you can actually kill with a tier 3 even if you get Skyward Slash, as long as you get a Brick Slash Topple. But I usually just try to go for a tier 4, avoid the Skyward Slash and go for a tier 4 anyway. So you have to do a bit of aggro management here. You don't want too much aggro on cross-set, on Nia at the start. And even without a break, if you have enough potions, you can actually kill with a tier 4. So this core fight's the dumb fight that I talked about. You're gonna see me basically run around trying to get potions here, and they land very far away, so it's very annoying to do this fight. And this is where getting Sparks level 4 is very useful, in case you don't get the in case you don't get a fusion. So I'm gonna go and get that 4th one. And I get the 5th potion here, so should be good. And Morai actually breaks the core, which is very funny because Morai doesn't have a very high chance of breaking the core without the beta scope. So Rex topples the core here. Would have been able to kill without the topple anyway. I just needed a break, but that was able to seal the deal for me. Without the break, I probably wouldn't have been able to kill the core. Would have come up just a bit short. But I had 5 potions, so it's not too bad. And the topple basically means that I was able to save a bit of time having to finish up the core after the mega explosion. So overall, a pretty good core fight, very decent Jin fight, and a bad lines split. So just broke even in that split. All the time saved that I got from the other fights offset the time loss I got from the lines, which is kind of unfortunate because lines usually don't lose too much time there. Jin sometimes can go wrong, especially if you don't get enough breaks. He also likes to use Stun Swallow after a while, which is very annoying because it launches you. Stun Swallow makes it so that any person who hits Jin will get launched. And it's annoying because the only thing it does is launch. It doesn't do damage, so it's all it does is waste your time. But yeah, once you see Sun Swallow, you don't want to hit Jin. It's also evasion art, so if you use a tier 4 in a Stun Swallow, you are going to have a bad time. But now we're down to chapter 5, one of the worst chapters when it comes to dumb fights. I can go into chapter 6, which is not much better, but it's not as stressful as chapter 4 and 5. But basically here there's some errands you need to run around. A bit more of a downtime before we go to Tantal. But there you saw, after the gauntlet, I got Gathering Sparks level 4. So I'm gonna teach it to Crossset before the next few fights, just to get a bit of extra damage in per pot. Yeah, but right now you're basically just gonna run around Indal talking to people for a side quest. with a bit of a quiz at the end. But because our speedrun is, we already know the answer.
And we're you. The adventure continues.
One last cutscene here before we go back to the Great Creation Cloister to have a nap. After we have the nap, then we can run around
And we're you.
the town
adventure
talking to people.
continues. And we're you. The adventure continues.
After this cutscene, you wanna warp back to Yanath main gate because they'll put you right at the cutscene trigger, and it's faster than running back.
And we're
Okay, now get to talk to people. Ban and the schemer. Basically, we're trying to uncover a nasty plot by Banner to kill the Emperor slash Empress, Emperor of Mordane and Empress of Uraya, the Queen of Uraya actually. And then yeah, just running around trying to get information right now. And you're seeing me warp to places to cut down on running time. I warp to the wharf number 2 here, right after tagging it, because it spawns me very close to the person I need to talk to. Then you go to wharf number 1 and then go back to Yanath main gate.
And we're you. The adventure continues.
There's 4 people to talk to here. And 2 more NPCs.
And we're you. The adventure continues.
Okay, now for the quiz. You want to mash through the first 2 questions and then skip the cutscene after the last 2 questions. So the answer is 2311. So mash through this one, and then this one, and skip. And then 1 and skip. So for the last question, you can actually pick Turkin as well. But Refugees is the fastest option because it's 1 less input. And you want to craft Hunter's Chemistry after that. So you can get Hunter's Chemistry for Corvin. So we're going to put Hunter's Chemistry on Corvin, plus the critical up, which we crafted at the start of the run.
The adventure
And in this menu,
continues.
I want to put Rex and Tora back into the party. I usually don't do this because I already have Gathering Sparks 4, but I teach it here because I didn't have it. Then I put the Warrior Blade, then Corvin.
Okay, where are we off to?
And then I go change to Mithra, and then I put Hunter's Chemistry and Critical up. So the reason why I had Rex out of my party just now is because when I'm running around talking to NPCs, This makes it so that only Nia responds to them. If Rex was in the party and it's a 50-50 whether Rex or Nia will talk to them, then if Rex talks to them, he will take longer to talk to them because he has to walk up to the NPCs. So, same as always, these Turkins are a lot beefier than the ones we fought before in the factory. But fortunately for us, we have the Shining Star chips. So gather lots of potions, get lots of AoE. I believe I get some very good AoE here. They all decide to stand close to each other. Yeah, very nice fight. It's the last Turkin here. Yeah, it's a very nice fight. And right now we got Giga Rosa. So Giga Rosa is also one of the new strats that we do. Essentially the same as Mora. We used to use a Mega Explosion / Steam Explosion into Chain, but now we do a Topple, Volcano Topple into Chain. You want to get as many potions as you can. So with Gathering Sparks level 4 to get 500%, you need 6 potions. So that's what I'm trying to get. Nobody topples Giga Rosa, which is unfortunate, so it doesn't give me extra potions. But I believe I do get enough damage still, with to get enough potions still. So I managed to get a double stack break on this volcano here, which is going to give me a lot more extra damage than a topple would. So I'm able to melt Rosa right here. As you can see, her HP goes down so much. And the volcano is going to be able to take her out. And again, I want as much DOT as possible, so I'm going to wait for my specials to fizz out here. And I'm going to use Corvin, because not only does he do more damage with Fugademonen, his special 1 is also very slow. And I use Poppy Alpha here because it's slower than Poppy QT. And I get close to a 400% overkill, which is very nice. I think normally you want like at least 350. I think ideally like 370, 380-ish on this fight, which would be good enough to give you level 49 later. So this fight's very important. This chain's very important to get enough levels for later. Essentially, so we've talked about break resistance with the beta scope. If enemies are 10 levels or more higher than you, then they get increased break resistance. So later on, we're gonna fight an enemy that is level 60. So if we're level 50 and below, we're gonna have a lot less.
Time for some treasure hunting.
We're gonna be breaking it a lot less often. So we want to be level 51. So to do that, we want to set up our XP route in such a way that we will be level 48 to 49. 49 being the most ideal after one of the inns that we'll take later in chapter 7. Okay, we salvage here. This is the only time we salvage in the run apart from the tutorial. This is to get 5 mechanical parts to get Ancient Wisdom level 1 and Jomark. And Ancient Wisdom level 1 is going to be one of the field skills that we'll need for field skill check later in the Spirit Crucible Alpus in chapter 7. And speaking of Ancient Wisdom, Perun has Ancient Wisdom, but if you recall, I didn't get Perun. So the backup to not getting Perun is you actually get a Geon's Core Crystal after Giga Rosa. So to awaken a Geon who has Ancient Wisdom level 1, you need to aggro a total of, I believe it's 22 enemies. So I mean I don't count 22, I just aggro until I get a Geon. So while running through Tantale and later in the Spirit Crucible Alpus, you want to start aggroing enemies. So that's why I start throwing rocks here. But yeah, having enough levels is very important for the run for consistency's sake. So with that big overkill on Rosa, Giga Rosa, I'm very confident in my XP for later. And here in Tantale, Tantale is the snowy area of this game. And I used to do another menu here to check pot sets chart for Getting Sparks level 4, but since then I've moved it to chapter 5. And I also purchased a pouch item known as Love Beyond the Clouds in Moradane back in chapter 4. We would usually give that to Rex here as well, but you actually don't need it until chapter 7. So I delayed it into I split it up, split the menu apart basically. So I'm not going to be doing any menus this run, this split. Sometimes when you salvage for mechanical parts, you can aggro monsters. If that happens, the fastest way to de-aggro is actually to yeet yourself off the cliff or the wharf, which loses you like 15 to 20 seconds. So ideally you don't do that, but sometimes it does happen, so it is what it is. In my case, I didn't get it, so that's very nice. And if you're lucky, sometimes you have Salvaging Mastery as well in one of your common blades, which will give you more drops. And also decreases the chance to get monsters by a bit, just a bit. It's not really significant, but it's still there. But yeah, my PB at the time did have to yeet myself off the cliff, so I'm gonna be able to save a bit of time here. And right now we're in Theoswar, and I'm upset because I don't get to hear the Theoswar Day music for long enough to hear the good part. But Theoswar Day music is one of the best ones, I think. It's really good.
A new locale.
Is it
I've
night
gained
time
a new
already?
memory.
Phew. That was a good day.
Okay, so next thing you want to do is to go to the shop here. So go to Mithra, buy the Lodronite chip and equip it onto her. And we only do this to give her more critical rate, because every time you score a critical hit, you get more party gauge, which will allow you to get chain attacks up more quickly. And also, there is another reason why we want to get our max party gauge as quickly as possible later, which will happen in chapter 7, which you'll see later. And critical hits are very important for filling your party gauge. And also, Corvin has a skill which increases the amount of party gauge you gain every time you get a critical hit. So that's why we also want the critical up 2 on Corvin, just to make sure he gets as many critical hits as possible. So I didn't want to put a critical up 2 on Corvin before, because up to this point we never really need good Corvin for the chain, the arts chain, the special chain, the party gauge chain thing. But later on we will need his we will need him to get as many crits as possible. So I feel like that's the most optimal time to put critical up 2 in just before Giga Rosa, the Turkins. But here, but yeah, nice thing about running through this palace is that the enemies auto aggro you, so that counts towards your a Geon counter. Sometimes if you're lucky, they de-aggro you and then you get one more aggro here, but in this case I didn't. You need to aggro and then de-aggro for it to count as 1. So if you aggro 1 and then while you're still being aggro, you aggro another 1, that doesn't count towards your total.
Great, they caught us off guard.
Sometimes if you're lucky, you get a very fast load on this cutscene right here before the Indolent Soldiers fight. Not Indolent Soldiers, I just realized it's called Indolent Soldiers. It's Tantalese Knights. Yeah, I've been naming... my split's been the wrong name forever. I just realized. So that's a bit embarrassing. But yeah, Tantalese Knights. Same as always. AoE as much as you can. They don't have a lot of HP, so you'll be able to melt them pretty quickly. The only annoying thing is that they have an evasion art. So that can be annoying sometimes. But try to acrobatic bomber and cross that tier 1 as much as possible. And then you can also use Corvin's specials. Yeah, Zeus an evasion art here, so nobody's able to kill him. So it's kind of annoying. I could have saved a bit more time on this split if I got some better AoE. And after retrieving Pyra, we will make our descent into the Genbu Crown. And this is a very important zombie hover here. It saves you about, I don't know, like 4 minutes. You want to hold zombie hover for about 2 seconds before you confirm the skip travel. And that will allow you to spawn in with zombie hover. If you hold it for too long before you skip travel, your game will crash, and then that's the end of your run. If you hold it for too brief a period of time, you will spawn in and then you will die, and then you can do the backup. You can do the backup zombie hover, which is the same as Temperentia. You let go and then you hold as Nia starts screaming. Which is slightly slower, which is why I do the fast method for the zombie hover, even though your game has a chance to crash if you're not careful. But as long as you time it correctly, you will not crash the game.
A new locale.
So over here, I believe I forgot to aggro monsters. I missed out on 1 or 2 aggros. But it's fine because afterwards you're gonna have a lot of monsters to aggro as well anyway. It's not a big deal. Over here I realized and I tried to aggro that one, but I didn't manage to. I managed to aggro this one. Anyway, coming up on this fight is why we want this team, the Water Blade on Rex. So we put it on just now. It wasn't really useful for Giga Rosa, the Water Blade on Rex, but it's basically just the save the menu for this fight. Basically, as you can tell from the split name, is the Tornan Trio. It's against Mikal, Patroka, and Mackos. And there are 3 of them, and as you could probably tell, we want to use Steam Explosion to AoE all 3 of them. At least 2 of them ideally free. And this fight's it can be difficult because you want to basically set it up in a way that you can blow down Mikal to get as much AoE as possible. And then on top of that, you have to be cognizant of where Mackos is and who he's targeting. You want to manage your aggro so that they don't target you, because Patroka can decrease your affinity with Dragonfly Slash. Mackos can use Black Wave, which can shackle your blades. So you want Morak to take the aggro here. Start everyone on Mackos. And then you want to build up to about tier 2 on Mikhail, and then start to use your blade combos. So at the same time, I'm going to get as many potions as I can. So over here, Rex topples, which is nice, gives me more potions. And then here I'm gonna try to run and set Mikal up. I want Mikal to come towards me so I can get him close to Mackos. Dragonfly Slash goes down, but because we're not very close to Patroka, it's fine. I try to go for 1 more break, but I don't get it. But I see this is a good time to get Mackos because I can blow Mikal down into Mackos. And in fact, Patroka is actually close enough that I can get all 3 of them in the AoE. So that was a very fast phase 1 of the trio fight. The downside to that is that I actually don't have chain. The fastest method to finish this second part against Jin is actually to immediately go into chain with 1 potion. So instead I have to wait a bit and try to get my chain up. And Morak's gonna die here because he's gonna heavily disrupt. He's gonna Skyward Slash me. I'm gonna use my tier 2 here. I actually could finish him without chain here. But once I get my chain up, I just decide to go for it. I don't want to waste any more time. Just finish him off. I actually only just take one hit. So I probably could have waited, but basically, since I got such a fast phase 1, I was okay with taking a bit of time loss on Jin. Ideally though, you would get, which is why I went for the break before I used my tier 4. I went for the break because if I got a fusion, Corset would give me a lot more party gauge with her Alchemy Adept skill. And that might have given me enough chain to party gauge to chain Jin instantly, which would have saved me another 20 seconds. But because I saw that I was in such a good position to set up a good trio fight, I went for it. Because I had a lot of potions, I didn't need a break to kill anyway. So I decided to just go for it with all the potions I had, Steam Explosion, to kill all 3 of them. So I looking back, I do agree with what I did there. I maybe could have gone for one more break because Mackos was using Black Wave, so he wasn't gonna run away anytime soon. But I don't know, maybe after Black Wave you run away, and that would completely mess up everything. And you want to try to get Mackos. If you don't get Petroka, that's fine. You want to at least get Mackos because he's a lot more annoying to kill if you miss the kill on him.
Keep a close eye out.
Petroka doesn't do anything. She just stands there and dies afterwards, and she has a lot less HP. Whereas Mackos has evasion art, so if you want to pick him off after the Steam Explosion, it's very annoying. And also he heals.
Evening is upon
So
us.
here I want to use my want to aggro more
We
enemies.
had better rest soon.
And over here is when I want to start thinking about what blades I want to put on for Spirit Crucible Alpis. Basically, at the end of this dungeon, there are 2 field skill checks. The first being 3 Fire Mastery and 2 Wind Mastery. The second being 3 Ancient Wisdom and 2 Kenai. So, with the first field skill check, you want 2 Fire Blades on Nia and Rex combined. Plus, Bridget will give you the last Fire Mastery. And then you want 2 Wind Blades on between Rex and Nia, usually. So right here, I believe I'm gonna give 2 Fire Blades to Nia because that's all I have on her. And then I'm gonna have 2 Wind Blades on Rex. So that's gonna give me enough to get past the first field skill check. For the second field skill check of 3 Ancient Wisdom, 2 Kenai, you have Corvin for 1 Ancient Wisdom. You have Joe Mark for 1 more Ancient Wisdom, so you have 2. And for the last one, you would either use Perun if you pulled her, or you would pull a Gion. So I don't have Perun, that's why I'm aggroing monsters to get a Gion. And the reason why your Gion so slow is not only do you have to aggro monsters and then you have to pull a Gion, you also have to gather 5 bugs to get to unlock Ancient Wisdom level 1 on a Gion, which will take 2 collection spots. Unless you're lucky and you get Entomology on one of your common blades. But usually that's not the case. So it's pretty slow to get Gion, as you can see. That's why it saves about 1 minute to get Perun.
Hey, look what I found.
So that's Ancient Wisdom. For Keen Eye, you have 1 on Bridget. And then the other one, ideally, you want to get from one of your blades. Blade pulls? Like, in my case, I have Gorg. Gorg is actually the least optimal one because you have to check his skill chart to unlock Keen Eye level 1. The other Kenai blade you can get, the other Kenai blades you can get are Agate and Adenine. Adenine being the best because she's also a wind blade. And then that's all for the second field skill check. If you don't have a Kenai Blade from the gacha, you can actually do a backup where you buy desserts in Moradane and then you feed 4 desserts to Bridget to unlock Kenai level 2. But I believe you do have to check her chart here. You have to check her chart to unlock maybe the trust rank, and then you have to feed 4 desserts. Then you have to check again to unlock Kenai. So it's pretty slow, which is why it's ideal to just get Kenai Blades from the gacha pool, which is actually pretty common. Gorg is pretty common to get. He's a Pity Blade in one of the PD groups. Agate is Pity Blade in Pity Blade 1, which is 40%. And Adenine is also pretty common in some of the groups. If you have Maroon, you also need to pull a Leaping Blade. That's because a Geon gives you both Leaping and Ancient Wisdom, and you're gonna need one more extra Leaping later. So if you get Perun, you also want a Leaping Blade, which can come from Finch, Talos, or Zenobia. A Talos you can only unlock if you're playing on a file which already has cleared the game. Some runners prefer not to do that because it actually makes your chapter 1s about 5 seconds slower because it gives you extra load time. But for me, like, I never really bothered clearing my save file for that extra 5 seconds because it's a bit of a hassle, and sometimes Talos actually does make a difference. You can also get Leaping from Percival. Percival's the worst one because you have to feed him 2 drinks to unlock Leaping level 1. So sometimes, let's say if I get Percival and Talos, Talos is a lot better. That's why I prefer Talos. But yeah, that's only if you have Perun, and sometimes you can get Perun but no Leaping, and that's very annoying. And what you would do is you would get a Geon, but you would skip the Ancient Wisdom on Jomark, so you don't lose as much time from pulling a Geon. So you can skip having to salvage. And yeah, I start aggroing more monsters here to get Ancient Wisdom, to get a Geon. I believe I do need a few more. I forgot to aggro a couple of monsters at the start of Alpus, so I'm kind of scrambling to aggro as many monsters as I can right now. Thankfully, you do have a bit of a leeway, so even if you miss a few monsters, you can usually get it before the end, where you need them. You basically want to pull a Geon before you start collecting insects, which is the Middle Worm-Ridden Cave second part. And over here, at the end of this corridor, there is a cutscene where you can actually do a zombie hover, because normally what we would do is we would jump down, grab a ladder, and then do a bit of a parkouring down. But you can actually do a zombie hover to save 10 to 15 seconds, but most runners don't do that. I believe only Gren does that now. Most runners don't do that because the zombie hover here is very inconsistent, and if you don't get it, it can be... It's very bad if you don't get the zombie hover. You have to reset your game. So yeah, I grabbed the ladder there, and then I parkour down after aggroing one enemy. And this is near the end of Alpus, or at least near the end until you get to the field skill checks. This is the Cenotaph Bridge. Afterwards will be the Middle Worm-Ridden Cave. Normally I would get a Geon before I exit the Helical Cloister, but in this case, because I forgot to aggro quite a few enemies, I believe I only get a Geon in the Middle Worm-Ridden Cave.
A new locale.
I have gained a new memory.
So I aggro one more here. I believe this is the last one which I needed for a Geon. So again with the menu, what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna pull a Geon, and then I'm gonna take advantage of the free Engage Blades menu that the game gives you when you pull a blade. And I'm gonna equip both a Geon and my Key Knight Blade, which is Gorg. So I'm gonna equip Gorg and a Geon.
Hello there.
Got it. I give you my all.
And I'm gonna exit out of the menu. And next I'm going to get my insects. And then right after that, I can do everything in one menu. And I've set my party in such a way that I don't need to re-equip blades. I don't need to equip more blades before the second field skill check. So once I equip the insects here, I'm good until for both field skill checks. So I get 2 insects here, and now I'm gonna get the remaining 3 from this spot here. So if you don't have, if you have Perun, you don't need a Geon. You can just run. You can go to the right side. You can go from the right side. But since I need to pull a Geon and get spiders, get the insects, I have to hug the wall on the left side here. Otherwise, you don't want to aggro the unique monster here. Otherwise, it will lose you like 50 seconds. So here I check Jormark's chart for Ancient Wisdom level 1. Then I'm gonna put 2 Fire Blades on Nia. This is why I always pull on Nia at the start until I get at least 2 fires or 1 fire, 1 wind. I put 2 winds on Rex, and then I check Gorg and Aegeon's charts. So it's gonna give me all the field skills that I need for these 2 checks here. So this is why you want to overdrive blades onto Morak, to save time in menuing. It's a lot slower to open up the menu and to equip blades and everything than it is to overdrive the blades. And besides, you're also... I overdrive them when I'm overdriving Earthblade to Zeke anyway, so you're already in the overdrive menu, so it's a lot faster to just overdrive blades there. And the DLC gives you 10 overdrive protocols anyway, which allows you to swap blades to other drivers. So now I'm gonna swap Tora for Rex. I'm gonna put the blades back on Nia, Crosshead, and Wolfred. And then I already have 2 wind blades on Rex, so I don't need to equip wind blades. But basically what I want to do at the end of this menu is that I want to make sure that I have 2 wind blades on Rex and then 1 wind blade on Morak, if possible. That's why I overdrive the wind blade to Morak. It's because I need 3 wind mastery for a field skill check after this. Phantasms later in the Eclipse of Morpha. So by overdriving a Windblade to Morak earlier, I'm able to save having to do an extra menu to equip 1 Windblade. But I would only do this if I got a non-healer Windblade, because again, I don't want Morak to be taking my potions if she has a healer Windblade. And I want to take Rex out of the party and replace him with Tora, because Rex does a lot of damage because he has Corvin right now.
Look what I found.
And this next fight is very precarious because there are 4 phantasms, and they have a skill called Multis, which basically when they are below a certain threshold, they will use Multis and become immune to all attacks and create 2 more copies of themselves. And those can also use Multis. So if you don't... the strat is to use Crossset to pick them off 1 by 1. But if you get too much AoE on them, or if you get too much damage on them before you kill them, they use Multis and the fight can drag on very, very long. So that's why I like Tora for this fight instead of Rex. I believe only Enel and I do this. Rex, Shem, Gren, and Leon all have Corvin in the party. So here I want to get about 2 to 3 potions. And then I'm gonna wait for Morak to break the Phantasm again. I actually got a bit of a fright there because I used my tier 1 a bit too late, and it was able to Multis before it finished. But good thing for me, the last hit of the tier 1 was able to kill it before it got its Multis off. And now I'm going to be able to clean up the rest of these Phantasms. I use my Acrobatic Bomber here to snipe it, but I missed, so I have to use the tier 1. And it starts to use Multis again, but good thing I have a lot of potions, so the tier 1's able to clear it out. So that was a bit of a scary fight there. I almost got Multis twice, which is very annoying, but good thing Crosshead's very strong. The gimmick about Spirit Crucible Alpus is that no one's able to use blade specials above tier 1. and you're not able to reach gold affinity with your blades, except for Tora, because Poppy's an artificial blade and not affected by normal blade restrictions. But Corsette's so strong with her gathering sparks that she's able to kill off the phantasms regardless. And what you saw me do there was, once I got enough potions, I stopped doing auto attacks and I started going healing circle into dolphin spin, immediately cancel into my tier 1, which will give me enough damage. And now after that cutscene, we want to take a rest here and level up to at least level 48. But usually, if you got a good overkill on Rosa, you'll be level 49, which is ideal.
Still much to learn.
You want to be level 49 here with Nia. Doesn't matter for the rest of them, but with Nia especially, because basically by the end of this chapter, Nia will be, if she's at level 49, at the end of this chapter, she will usually be level 51, which will set up our levels just nicely for the next chapter. So I purchased an item known as the Zero Battle Course back in Moradane. This is an item which only I use now, I think. Nobody else uses it. Oh, Shem used it, and Gren used to use it. Shem uses it. But what the Zero Battle Course does is that when the driver that has it equipped deals the finishing blow, you gain 25% more experience. So I purchased one loincloth, one swimsuit, and 2 van braces here. These are just for extra damage later. But I want to explain the Zero Battle Course first. So the reason why Shem and I get the Zero Battle Course is for more safety when it comes to levels. So basically, you're usually at level 49 here with Nia. If you don't have the Zero Battle Course, you're going to need a fusion combo on Jalos, which is the last fight in this chapter, in order to get level 51 with Nia. Which is not too difficult because Nia will be able to break very easily, but sometimes it doesn't happen, or sometimes you do have to wait for a break if Nia misses or she gets interrupted or whatever. But with the Zero Battle Course, it makes it so that you don't have to have any fusion combos as long as Rex lands the finishing blow, which usually he will be the one that kills the bosses in this chapter. So the Zero Battle Course is very much so for EXP safety, more than anything else. The other runners would put loincloth and van braces onto safe menus later. So the downside of Zero Battle Course is you do have to do one extra menu to take it off right after this chapter, because you want the loincloth on Rex later for more damage. And this is where the colorful feather is really useful in Morak. After that cutscene, you have a chance of aggroing Machine Gun Julio, who is a unique monster. Colorful feather doesn't cut it here because you need to draw your weapon to actually start taking aggro. I mean, Knob on Mask doesn't cut it here. And I don't have it on Tor anyway, because I took it off earlier. But yeah, feather there really helps out. And because Julio can kill your characters, and if it kills Nia, it's very bad, as you can imagine. And that field skill check requires free Wind Mastery, which is why I like to have the Wind Blade on Morak. Otherwise, you have to do an extra menu to equip the Wind Blade here. So this is a nice bit of menu optimization on my end to save out on menus. Save up on menus, yep. And after this field skill check, once we get off the vines here, we will start. We will do one more menu. I'm gonna bring Rex back into my party because I'm gonna want Rex with Corvin for the next fight. And the next fight is one where Corvin will be the one shining because he's gonna be the one that lands the finishing blow. Okay, so put Rex back in the party. I'm gonna take everyone off except Corvin, so Rex doesn't swap off. Because the AI is dumb sometimes. And neutral happiness, then yeah, this is gonna give me more party gauge every time I get an excellent button prompt in my specials. I'm gonna put the Van Braces and the Battle Course on Rex. Van Braces give him 35% more additive damage against higher level enemies, which from this point on, all the enemies will be higher level than us, so it's a very nice 35% extra damage. Not multiplicative, it's additive, so it's not truly 35%, because Corvin already has some additive sources of extra damage. But the damage is still nice regardless, and it's very important for this upcoming fight, because we kill him exactly. So this fight is very simple, but sometimes Mallows can troll you. What you want to do is start off immediately with a Dolphin Spin. And then you want to go Auto Attack 2 into Dolphin Spin, Acrobatic Bomber, Healing Circle. And then you want to get 1 potion. 1 potion's enough. Dolphin Spin again, Acrobatic Bomber, Healing Circle, and then go Morak tier 2, or tier 1. Once that goes up, use Burnout with Crossheads tier 4. And right as the tier 4 ends, you want to immediately go into Rex's Nuclear Blast here. And you want to do this before Monado Armor grows up. Basically, at the 75% HP threshold, Mallows will use Monado Armor, which decreases all damage by 90%. And that would slow down the fight tremendously, and he also starts to use a lot more annoying arts like Monado Eater, which decreases Blade Affinity, and Monado Jail, which shackles all blades. And that would lose you 30 to 40 seconds. Monado Armor lasts for 30 seconds, so it will lose you at least 30 seconds, usually 40. Before that, I also gave Rex Love Beyond the Clouds, which will give him more blade combo damage and also more affinity at the start of the battle. If you have Adenine, you can actually have Adenine in that fight instead of Wolfric, and you can actually skip having to pick up a potion. But I actually just prefer using Wolfric. For one, Wolfric has the Hunter's Chemistry, which is nice for Rex, for your Gold Affinity. And secondly, with Adenine, what's the other reason? You have to do extra menuing to equip Adenine. And if you skip the potion, sometimes you get up your tier 4, you get up your burnout too quickly, and Rex doesn't have his tier 3 up in time. So I find that by usually just getting 1 potion, Rex usually has enough time to get his tier 3 up. And again, you want to use your tier 3 immediately after your burnout, so Mallows doesn't Monado Armor. And now I take off the 2 blades and only leave Bridget on Morak right now. I didn't need to take off before because the AI is programmed in such a way that female drivers like Morak will prioritize blade combos. So, I mean, and I'm starting off with Bridget anyway, so I really just need Bridget for the tier 1. Whereas Rex will prioritize driver combos and getting his specials up faster, I think. So he will tend to swap off a lot more and not prioritize blade combos. So I only want Corvin on Rex so he can... he only uses Corvin. So this is a new strat we use for Jalos phase 1. We used to go the same strat on Mallows 2. But now we do this. So I get at least 3 potions and then I want to get my chain up. It's Skyward Slash here, which is unlucky. Because it's gonna mean I do less damage with my crosshead. But fortunately, Rex avoids the Skyward Slash. So Corvin still does a lot of damage here. So it's nice he's able to clean up this phase. And this is a lot. This is like 10 seconds faster than the original strat, because not only is Corvin's tier 3 very slow, but you also have to wait for Morak to get up her tier 1, which sometimes can be very slow. And Rex sometimes also doesn't get his tier 3 up. You would use Morak tier 1 plus that tier 2 into the Rex tier 3, and sometimes that's very annoying because you have to wait for your partners to get their specials, and sometimes they don't do it and it loses you a lot of time. This phase 2, you get access to Numa, which is the final form of the Aegis, the most powerful form. In this fight, she's very broken. you get her for the entire fight. Normally she's only on a 1-minute timer. You have to have max affinity with Mithra or Pyra and full party gauge to use her. And she gives your entire party 100% crit rate and 50% break reduction, break resist reduction. So she's very overpowered, and in this fight she also has the added bonus of not being able to die. So you cannot lose this fight actually. So once the Monada armor wears off here, I'm gonna use Diamond Mist on Topple here to make sure I get Jin. Sometimes if your phase 1 goes well and you get Jin in the AoE of your Corset's tier 1 in chain, you don't actually need a fusion combo for the second phase. The fusion combo is just to get extra damage in to kill Jin. But I don't believe I AoE Jin in the phase 1, so good thing Nia was able to get a fusion combo there, so I was get a break there, so I was able to fusion combo. And I use Diamond Mist because it does more damage than Steam Explosion, although realistically you can use Steam Explosion. And we do a save and quit here because it's for consistency's sake. Basically, from this point forward, in this chapter, there's a pretty high chance that your game will start taking very long to load. So the best stopgap measure to that is to do a save and quit. And now I have to put the loincloth on Rex because loincloth increases damage done if your blade is of an opposite gender. So Numa is a female blade and Rex is a male driver. That's why we get extra 50% additive damage with Numa. And Numa benefits a lot from additive sources of damage because I believe she doesn't have any additive sources of damage from her skill chart. So the 50% will mean a lot, as well as 35% from the Vambraces. Do a bit of parkouring up here because it's faster to trigger this next cutscene. And now, against this Deadfire Guldo, normally what I do is auto attack 2 Anchor Shot into auto attack 2 Sword Bash, Rolling Smash, Anchor Shot, immediately cancel into my tier 2. I find that this is very consistent for me. I think some of the other runners do a bit differently depending on whether you get a recover recharge on one of your Anchor Shots. But once you get full chain and you should already be on max affinity, you want to go into Numa. Use Lightning Bolt instead of Gamma Ray because it's slightly faster than Gamma Ray. And then, yeah, that's the fight. Recover Recharge is a skill on Mithra's chart. Basically, when you crit, it gives you extra arts recharge, but I don't find that very reliable, so I do auto attack 2, Anchor Shot into auto attack 2, Sword Bash, Rolling Smash, Anchor Shot immediately cancel into my tier 2. And you want to use a tier 2 there because it hits a lot of times and has a 25% crit chance modifier, which will give you more crits for more party gauge. And Jin breaking there also helps to get more party gauge. And yeah, with the Hunter's Chemistry on Corvin and with the Left Beyond the Clouds pouch item, you get max affinity very quickly with your with Mithra here. So you can get access to Numa immediately upon reaching full party gauge. So yeah, Numa is very strong. Another thing that she does is once per battle, she will prevent Rex from dying and will revive him with 50% HP. So that's very useful for later. She also gives 60% damage reduction to all incoming damage because she has 60% ether and physical defense. So for this fight against the Horde, it can sometimes troll you if everyone hits Rex. So same thing, auto attack 2, and then I start off the one on the left, and then after the Anchor Shot, I target the one on the right and do auto attack 2, Sword Bash, Rolling Smash, Anchor Shot. Immediately into my tier 2, which will give me full party gauge. Into Numa, Gamma Ray, because Gamma Ray has an AoE that hopefully will be able to get a few of these Guldo. So the backup if you don't get all the Guldo is to go for a tier 2 with Numa. So this one should be able to kill most of them. I get a bit unlucky, some of them still living. So I go for a tier 1 here to finish off the last one.
Heavenly disrupt.
But I normally find that by targeting the left one first and then shifting to the right one, yeah, I can usually get quite a few of them, if not all of them. If I'm lucky, I get all of them. And you want to target a different one because you want to start on one of them, so Jin targets that one, and then you want to swap off that one, because once you go to Numa and Jin uses Skyward Slash, he's gonna have a very high chance to break the Gudo. And if you land your Genesis Saber, which is Numa's tier 3 on the break, you will kill the Gudo and Gamma Ray doesn't go off.
And arrived.
So you don't want to land your Genesis Saber on a break. So we do a bit of a parkour here to do this thing called known as Womb Skip. Normally you would have to run one round around the womb down the path there to the right, which takes a while. So this skip actually saves about 7 seconds, I think. So it's a nice bit of time save, and I got it first try, which is very nice. It's not that difficult. And now we're gonna go into another two-phase fight against the Infernal Gudo. This is the fight that you need level 51 on Nia for, unless you want to suffer with very low break chance. It's a level 60 enemy, and if Nia's level 50 and below, she will have reduced break chance. So level 51 here is very important. Basically, it means that you're almost guaranteed to break it.
Don't get ahead of yourselves.
Come on then, Rex.
So the first phase is very simple. You want to wait until it uses Elemental Copy. This is the reason for that is because Numa always hits all elemental weaknesses, which gives you extra damage. So by letting it copy your element, it gains an element, so Numa will start doing extra damage. Then we're gonna go Sword Bash, Rolling Smash into Anchor Shot, Lightning Bolt, again because it's faster than Gamma Ray. And this will also hit his elemental weakness.
Why not?
And for phase 2 of the fight, you get your party members back. This is also why you want Bridget on Morat only before going into this area, so she will end up with Bridget here. If you have other blades on Bridget beforehand, Bridget will stay on Rex. So the strat for this fight is you want to get at least 2 potions. You want to go Bridget tier 1 into Nia, you want to go Bridget tier 1, and then you want to get a break here. Once you get the break, you want to set up a double stack. So once you get the break, you want to go tier 3 with tier 2 with Rex immediately into your tier 4 Crossette. With at least 2 potions, this will be enough to get a good overkill on Gudo. I have 3 there, so it's just extra insurance. And depending on how much HP Gudo has here, you can actually use Joe Mark sometimes. Basically, if Gudo copies Light Element before your Mega Explosion goes off, he will take a lot more damage from it. And that would probably put him very close to dying, so in that case you can use Joe Mark because Numa is going to be able to get you enough overkill. But in this case he had a lot more HP left, so I decided to use Crossset instead for more damage. And this is just to get more overkill because I'm gonna want as many levels as I can before the last boss fight. So the last boss fight is level 70, so I want to be level 61 and above with Nia to get that extra break chance. So normally you want to aim for close to 300% overkill on the Gudo. Slightly less than that's fine, like 280-ish. But 300% is very safe. As long as you're level 51 with Nia here. And it's just a snowball effect. So if you don't have level 51 with Nia here, you're gonna need more overkill. It's for one, it's harder to get the one, it's harder to set up the fight. 2, it's harder to get more overkill. or you're gonna need more overkill. So level 51 is very nice to have for this fight. And that's the Inferno Gudo. And yeah, you want to get it on a double stack, because it gives you more damage than a topple. So once your break goes up, you want to immediately use Rex's special so he doesn't topple the Gudo. And then once burnout goes up, you can immediately go into your tier 4. And this strat is is the same strat we're going to be using for phase 2 of the final boss later. Except we use Crosshead's tier 1 instead of Morak's tier 1, because in that fight we'll have Corvin on Morak instead. So now we're in the world tree. This is where you really start to notice that it is a Xeno game. There's a lot of sci-fi elements. I try my best to jump on this control panel here. I didn't get it. It's technically more optimal because the cutscene trigger is above your head, so it puts you a bit closer to that, but it's not a big deal. And yeah, so now we're gonna begin our ascent of the world tree. This is the final dungeon.
And arrived.
Final-ish dungeon before the end of the run. The world tree is a very big area. There's lower level, middle level, upper level, and then on top of that there's the first orbit station. And basically the world tree, what it is, it's not actually a tree, it's a giant space station that extends all the way up into space.
Hey, look what I found! Congratulations, guys!
And all the elevators you will exit on the opposite side which you entered, except for this one right here, which is the only one which you exit the same side as you entered.
And arrived.
Oh, this is where we were going.
So right now I'm sitting pretty comfortably at about a 1 minute lead against my PB, and I want to have as much of a buffer as I can because there's a very infamous clip later known as the door clip in chapter 9, at the start of chapter 9, where essentially you're just going to be throwing yourself at a wall and hoping to clip through. And that's because the intended method to get past the door is extremely slow, and most of the times you won't be able to do that anyway, because it requires you to have quite a few electric blades and also level up focus on Pyre and Mithra. Or Wolfric, or I don't know. We don't do it, so. And normally we just do door clip. It's a very slow thing. And so you can lose a lot of time there, which is why you want to have as much buffer as you can. And my PB actually has first try door clip, so it's going to be very difficult to not lose time there. Pretty much always lose time. And here you have a little clip known as the nuclear dump skip. And basically you want to go into this this gap here in this wall, and I actually have a very hard time with this in this run. I think I was very nervous and I wasn't able to steady my finger, so I actually lost about 30 seconds here, which I shouldn't have. So that was very unfortunate, and I started to get a bit nervous because I'm losing time that I need for the door clip. The overdrive
It's about that.
Morak to Corvin to Morak, because you don't need a Rex anymore.
Nice
And I
one.
teach a skill here known as Drive to Win.
Nice one.
This is gonna give me extra party gauge every time I crit with Rex.
It sounds fun.
I'm gonna give 2 attacker blades to... I'm gonna unequip Dromark first, and I'm gonna give 2 attacker blades to Rex to increase his damage further. And then I'm gonna put Corvin in the first slot for Morak, so she will always start with Corvin. Next, I put a Charming Swimsuit and the Vox Ram Braces on Morak, so she will have 85% extra additive damage. So the Charming Swimsuit is like the male loincloth, except it is for the females. So this is gonna give Corvin a lot more damage, which is gonna be relevant for 2 fights later, one against Jin and one against the final boss. So we actually used to teach a different skill in the menu on Rex called Ultimate Relay. Ultimate Relay increases your damage multiplier in chain attacks by 50%. So it means that you'll be able to do a lot more damage in chain. But essentially we now realize that you don't need Ultimate Relay really. Ultimate Relay really is just a relic of the no DLC route. So you don't actually need Ultimate Relay. And now originally used only Adenine. Use Adenine instead of Dromark for the final boss, because Adenine has a skill which increases damage done to enemy weaknesses against enemies' weaknesses by 60%. And Numa always hits enemy weaknesses, so she's gonna gain a lot of extra damage from that. And that's also that's also the reason why you're able to skip getting a pot with on Malos 2, because Malos is weak to light, and you're just able to use Adenine to boost Corvin's damage instead. But Anel figured that with Adenine you can skip Ultimate Relay on Rex. And I expanded on that further by removing the need for Adenine as long as you have extra damage on Morak. Which is not a big deal, it's not that much slower to use Morak anyway.
And we're you.
It's not a big time loss to get extra damage on Morak anyway, and it can be helpful for Jin. And essentially, without Adenine, originally you had to, without the extra damage, you would have to do two full rounds of the chain attack. But what I wanted was to start off the chain attack with Dromark, so you can break the fire orb faster. So in chain attacks, if you hit the orb with an element that's opposite, you take 2 hits off of it, and it has 3 hits total, so it means that by starting off with Dromark and hitting the fire orb with water element, you'll be able to break the orb with Numa, and this allows you to skip using Corvin's tier 2 on the second round of chain attacks, which would save you about 7 or 8 seconds. So that was the whole reasoning why I wanted to find a way to skip that. Of course, some of that time save is actually lost because you have to get extra items to put on Morak. But that's not really the main reason why you get Drive to Win. It's really just to make Jin more consistent by getting more party gauge, and also it also allows you to speed up the in-the-line star fight. So originally, at the end of this chapter, there's a fight against the Big Bird in-the-line star. With Ultimate Relay strats, so without the Drive to Win strats, originally we would need Mithra's tier 2, so Photon Edge. We need to use 2 of those to get up tier 2 blade combo, and then we would go into Numa and use Supernova to kill it. But with Drive to Win, you get so much party gauge, you can actually get full party gauge in 1 Photon Edge. Originally, we need 2. But you get so much party gauge that you get full party gauge with Photon Edge, 1 Photon Edge, that you can kill the in-the-line star with a Gamma Ray on topple. So only need the tier 2 blade combo on topple. And Nia usually breaks the bird anyway,
Congratulations.
especially with Numa having a decreased break resistance and the bait scope on her. So you can see right now that the fight's gonna be very fast. Same thing, I'm gonna go up to my Photon Edge here, tier 2. And I'm gonna go immediately into my Photon Edge here. And Neo breaks here, so that's nice. So I want to go into Numa. And I'm going to topple and immediately go into Gamma Ray. And this will give you... This will pop the Gamma Ray just before the topple expires. And sometimes if you're unlucky, one or two of them do survive, so you can just kill them off here. And yeah, I lost 32 seconds there because of the very slow nuclear dump skip. So at this point, I'm feeling a bit nervous because I really wanted that time for to buffer my door clip. So I'm gonna have to hope that I get a good door clip. I know I can still save some time in chapter 9 apart from the door clip. Like, I can save some time in Jin. I can save 20 seconds at Amalthus, roughly. And I can save a bit of time on Ion. So I don't need a godly door clip. I just need a decent door clip. And not lose too much time to still have enough buffer for PB. And hopefully sub 54. And yeah, this is just the calm before the storm before you fight Jin. You're just running, a bit more running, then you have the door clip, and then you go into your fights. So door clip is a very stressful part of the run. The reason being it's very inconsistent. We don't have a consistent setup for door clip. We just know roughly where you want to throw yourself at. And you want to give yourself as many good chances to get the door clip as possible. There isn't a way to truly make the door clip consistent. Even the top runners struggle with door clip. So you can make door clip slightly more consistent in that on average you don't lose too much time to it, but there isn't really a way to make it 100% consistent, like you get it very quickly all the time. The top runners can lose multiple minutes to door clip if they're unlucky. On average, I tend to lose about 40 seconds to 1 minute to door clip. So my PB was an outlier because I got it instantly. So running against it is kind of stressful because I know for sure I'm going to lose time on this split.
Congratulations, guys!
But yeah, basically at the end of this large platform, after the cutscene there, then you will start to do the door clip. You want to angle the cone, the vision cone of your mini-map such that it aligns with the weather icon at the top you'll see later. And then you want to run just a bit, just a tiny amount. You want to run against the control panel just a bit, and then you want to jump into the corner of the door. But yeah, we used to do the ultimate relay menu after the door clip. But that's because ultimate relay, you need more SP to teach it. Ultimate relay costs 4,000 and combo enhance, which is the skill before, takes 2,000. Whereas with drive to win, drive to win is 3,000 plus Graham's blessing, which is the prerequisite skill, is 1,000. So you need a lot less SP to teach it, which means that you're always guaranteed to get drive to win after the Gudo. So you can do the entire menu when you do the nuclear dump skip, because you open your menu anyway to swap drivers. And which I forgot to explain, basically by swapping drivers there, it's kind of like similar to the tardy gate skip. You can shift the driver position in a way that you can grab onto the stairs even though you're swimming. So right here I'm trying to throw myself at the door, try to get door clip. Like I said, I'm running against the control panel and jumping against the corner of the door. I believe I do get it very soon. Right about here. Yep. So I got a pretty decent door clip. I believe in the end I lost about 20 seconds to door clip, which honestly is very good because I'm running against first try door clip, so losing 20 seconds to door clip is not too bad. So this was one of the saving graces in my run. Made up for the fact that I lost a lot of time to the nuclear dump skip, which I shouldn't have otherwise.
Hey, look what I found! Congratulations, guys!
Because I was expecting to lose a minute to door clip. Because that's what I usually lose. And you want to run up the stairs at the side here, because if you run near the center, you will spawn a unique monster, and which will not allow you to get up the escalator here, the elevator. And this is another point in the run where you can go and take a bathroom break if you need to. It's a very long elevator ride up, and afterwards there's still a cutscene which takes very long to load. So you can be gone for like just under a minute, I think. You can come back and still have time to skip the cutscene. So yeah. And what we're gonna do is, there's gonna be a cutscene here, and afterwards we're gonna tag Maggot's Gateway. Once you tap Maggot's Gateway, you want to immediately warp to Corvin's house in left area. And you want to take an inn because you're going to want, it's going to be the final inn that we take. And you're going to want it for levels. So again, against the final boss, you're going to need the levels. And also because if you're at low level, Jin will absolutely shred your HP in this fight. So you really want to be higher level for extra tankiness. So ideally, at the after taking this in, you want to be level 60 with Nia. Level 59 is acceptable as well. But with level 59, to hit level 61 later, you need a fusion combo on Jin. So level 60 is the go-to. Level 60 is ideal because then you don't have to worry about getting a fusion combo on Jin. Because the fight can be very troll, and Jin has very high evasion, so... and has a lot of evasion art, so it's very hard to get a fusion combo on Jin. So another thing you want to do is you want to put Rex one level below Nia. This is because there's going to be a fight later where Rex has to fight Nia and Morak. And in order to get the extra 35%, they take your levels right now. They take your levels as you go into the fight. So by having the Rex lower level, he can benefit from the box of embraces. But yeah, I lost about 21 seconds there to door clip, which is actually, like I said, still very decent. Then you want to go back to Maggot's Gateway after leveling everyone. So I'm at level 60 with Nia, which is very nice. That's very ideal, basically where I want to be at. So I don't need to get a fusion combo, so I can just focus on killing Jin here. Jin has, like I said, has a lot of evasion arts, and essentially you don't want your specials to land into evasion arts. Especially your Numa specials. The goal is to charge up your, is to get Numa as quickly as possible. So Corvin's gonna help out a lot. And if Nia gets a break, that's also gonna give you more special gauge. Get some nice party gauge here with Photon Edge. And then I'm gonna use Corvin's tier 2 to get more party gauge. Unfortunately, I don't get too many, and my second Photon Edge here lands into a empty moment, so I get less party gauge. Nia does a good job and gets a break here. Essentially guarantees that I'm gonna, with one more Photon Edge here, I'm gonna be able to get Numa. So that's why I go into immediately. A bit slow to get up my Numa, but I was able to get a topple here to ensure that he doesn't use any evasion arts, and also extra damage on my Supernova here.
I made a promise to him.
So it's gonna give me a lot of damage.
None can withstand
And right now, this is another variation that we do. So Nell and Leon will both use Mega Explosion, but Shem, Gren, and I use Heaven's Bolt. So I use Dark. This will unlock Corvin to do a tier 2. And Corvin does a lot of damage with Ray of Light. So here he almost kills Jin. And then sometimes he can even kill Jin with Ray of Light if he does enough, if he gets enough damage. But right now Jin's very low on HP. I'm just gonna be able to get off the Heaven's Bolt here to kill him. So that fight was a bit slower than I hoped because I didn't get Numa up as quickly as I wanted to. So I did lose a bit of time. But getting past Jin is one of the big hurdles. And I know I'm going to be able to save time on the Malphus because I got a pretty bad fight the other time. So immediately I'm going to swap to Pyra. And then I'm going to run here and start clanking on the Malphus. He's going to use Divine Ropes, which gives him like immunity to all attacks and make all your attacks get deflected. We're going to go auto attack 1 sword bash into Anchor Shot, immediately cancel the Pyra tier 1 to get your heat up. Then you want to go Numa immediately to make him use Guilty Rope. Guilty Rope will launch him to Numa's position, and then you want to use a tier 2 with one of your party members. And then once he reaches his hand out for an auto attack, use your... Once Burnout is up, you use Nuclear Blast here, which would have a blowdown effect and knock him into the hole here, which would instantly kill him. So this is one of the flashiest strats in the speedrun. It's we call it golfing or hole-in-one strats. And yeah, it's the fastest way to kill a Malphus here. If you don't have enough XP, normally you want to chain a Malphus. So you want to build up 1 to 2 orbs and chain a Malphus. Which is very slow, so normally we just try to go for the hole-in-one strats, which is a big reason why you want level 60 on Nia or level 59 with a fusion kill on Jin. It's just to get level 61 for Ion. But yeah, a Malphus chain is pretty slow. Basically what you need to do is once you get the break, you build 1 orb. You build 1 orb on that break and then chain on the same break. Otherwise you need to build 2 orbs and yeah, do a free round chain attack, which you can imagine is very slow. But I was able to save that fight, save time on that fight, because in my PB, Nia broke a Malphus before he used Guilty Row, and in this run, actually, she was going to do that as well. Fortunately for me, a Malphus resisted the break, so good thing for me. Something I'm considering is maybe using Nia tier 1 so she doesn't break a Malphus. I can use Nia tier 1 as soon as she goes for Acrobatic Bomber. Then I can use Morak tier 2 and Numa tier 3.
I will do my best.
So now I want to put Corvin in the first slot for Morak, or put Bridget in the first slot for Morak so I can unequip Corvin. Because you cannot equip the first blade of... Rex basically now has the ability to equip any blade in the game. Which means you can actually equip story blades such as Joe, Mark, Bridget, which originally you would not be able to unequip. But you cannot unequip blades that are the first blade of the driver, so that's why I had to put Bridget in the first slot so I could equip Corvin onto Rex. And you want Corvin in your party because, like I said, this, you're gonna find Nia and Morak. It's gonna be a little mini gauntlet against your entire party. And Corvin's the best blade for that because he's the most set up blade we have at the moment. And he also deals a lot of damage with his arts and specials. And yeah, you want to have Corvin over Rock. Because you're going to lose Mithra, and I believe Rock goes into your party automatically. And I'm not sure if you will start with Rock if Rock's already in your party. I don't know. But we've always just done it with Corvin. I mean, we've always just put Corvin over Rock. Start with Corvin. And then you also want Wolfric, because Wolfric has the Hunter's Chemistry that will give you your arts a lot faster, along with your Hunter's Chemistries and Corvin's Hunter Chemistry and the Left Beyond the Clouds pouch item. So yeah, we reach Elysium and turns out that this place is just a barren wasteland. Accident happened a very long time ago, when the Architect was researching the conduit. Architect is the god figure in this game that created both Numa and Malos. Malos is the other Aegis. And yeah, Malos was the blade of Malthus, who is a very evil person if you can't tell by now. And basically Malos' instinct to destroy is based off of Malthus, because the blades basically take on characteristics of their drivers. So Malthus is dead. Malos is still alive though, and we have to go and stop Malos from destroying the world, because that's what all evil villains do. And before that, the Architect decides to pit us against our party members, or apparitions of our party members. So we call these the ghosts. And the strat here is to go auto attack 1, then 1, 2, 3, cancel into Flash Uppercut, cancel into Nightbreaker into your tier 1. That's by far the fastest way to do this fight, I think. And this should kill both Nia and Morag, provided you don't get blocked. And Nia shouldn't block you too much, but Morag does have a higher chance to block you, I think. So same thing. 1, 1, 2, 3, Flash Uppercut. I get deflected, which is unfortunate, so I go ×2 Nightbreaker into Victory Slash to get some extra damage, which is still not enough actually, because Morag's a bit tankier. Maybe I should considering putting Morag on lower level next time. But yeah, that was slightly slow. And this next fight is against Zeke and Tora. There's 2 of them. You want to start on Zeke, you want to go auto attack 2, Flash Uppercut. Then you want to go target Tora, auto attack 2, Nightbreaker. On 2, I get deflected, which is unfortunate. This Rex is very bad. So now we target Tora. 1, 2, Nightbreaker. He blocks my Nightbreaker, which is annoying. And then I use Fuga Demonum. You want to lure both of them. And Tora blocks my special again. So now this is annoying because now he uses Rigid Shield, which will make you which will decrease damage and deflect your attacks. So I have to wait a while before I can kill him. So that's kind of unlucky. I lost quite a bit of time there. Maybe you can have auto balancer for that fight. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of annoying if they block your attacks. But now you want to put Nia in the first slot and Rex second, Morag third. Now we're going to set up our blades for the final fight. We put Corvin in the first slot so we can unequip Bridget. Then we disengage everyone except for Mithra. And then we put Jomark and Wolfric. So I alluded to this earlier, Jomark is to set up a faster chain attack, and Wolfric is for Hunter's Chemistry and extra damage. So this is a 2-phase fight. The first phase you need to get Ion to about 75% HP. And we're going to be using Crosshat for that. We're going to set up a Mega Explosion with Crosshat. And then for phase 2, we're going to set up a double stack fusion combo with Mega Explosion into a chain. So for phase 1, what you need to do is there are 2 methods. The first method is to get 4 potions, and then you want to land a Mega Explosion on a break, which will always end the phase. The second method, which I normally go for, because normally you do have, you are able to build up your chain quickly, is to get 5 to 6 potions, and then you go into Pneuma first, use Pneuma's tier 2, and then Crossset's tier 6 with 5 or 6 potions, which will always end the fight without needing a break. And normally you have time to get the extra potions anyway, because you need to wait for Pneuma to go up. And yeah, you want to make sure you you do everything with Pneuma, because she gives you extra crit, she gives you guaranteed crit rate. And she also does a lot of damage to Ion. If you don't have enough gauge, you have to use a Pyra instead for the blade combo. Which means that you'll probably be relying on getting a break for fast phase 1. The other option is the chain attack, which doesn't really isn't really detrimental, except that it takes a bit of time.
A new locale.
It will end immediately once you get the final hit off. So usually, if you have the chain attack, it's usually just Crossset picking off the last bit of HP. And then you get full chain for the next phase, so it's not really a big deal if you have the chain. So yep, this is the final boss. So immediately start with Dolphin Spin. You want to get as many potions as possible. Go auto attack 2 into Dolphin Spin and one of your arts, and immediately cancel into your tier 1 and start picking up your potions. Again, I'm trying to aim, I always aim for about 6 potions. So right now I have 4. And now I just want to build up to my tier 4. And yep, I see enough potions here, so I'm just gonna get all the potions. And Pneuma's almost gonna go up, so I just build up to my tier 4 here. And I get Pneuma up, use her burnout. And once burnout goes up, I'm gonna immediately go into Mega Explosion. And again, this is enough damage with 6 potions, 5 to 6 potions, and with Pneuma tier 2. So that's a very good phase 1. Now we're going to do phase 2. And this time Pneuma is going to be the one doing most of the damage, so you don't want to take any potions because you don't want to be wasting time. Your main focus is just to get break and set up your double stack as soon as possible. So what I do is I wait for my party members to come a bit closer so they can pick me up faster. Auto attack 3, Dolphin Spin, Pneuma, and cancel into Healing Circle. And now they're gonna pick me up. And immediately do your tier 1. If Morak is dead here, you want to use your tier 1 and then you pick her up. And now you go auto attack 1, Healing Circle, Acrobatic Bomber into Dolphin Spin. If you get a break here, it doesn't matter. The next break is the one that you need. So you go auto attack 2, Healing Circle, Acrobatic Bomber. And once you get the break here, it's pretty much GG. You're gonna do the same strategy you did on the Godo. Use burnout with Rex, and once the burnout goes up, you immediately go into your tier 4 to freeze the break. And immediately after the Mega Explosion, you're gonna go into your chain. So you're able to get your entire chain onto the double stack break here, which will give you a lot more damage. So Dromark here will break the orb faster, and Pneuma here is going to break the orb and give you 200% more damage bonus. So Corbin's gonna do a whole truckload of damage right here with his tier 1. And you wanna use Crossset on tier 2, on round 2, just to deal a bit more damage, so that Pneuma can pick him off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's gonna be it. So time will come up now when you gain when you see the last text box of the chain attack. So that was a crazy run. It was a crazy run. So yeah, what was really crazy about the run was that I didn't have Boreas or Numa, and I was still able to PB by quite a bit, able to get a 53, which I'm very happy about. And again, like I said, Boreas is about 2 minutes time save, Numa, Perun's about 1 minute time save. So realistically, sub 50 is actually possible, although it would take a very, very, very good run. But it's not impossible. And definitely I do expect that this run will be beaten. If not by myself, then by one of the other top runners, because all of them are very good. But yeah, I'm very happy with this run. Overall, I think my execution was very, very good. I would personally rate my own execution for this run at 9 to 9.5 out of 10. The only really big blemishes are the nuclear dump skip and probably not getting and the bit of time lost on the power line split due to the poor menuing and not being able to get Gathering Sparks level 4 in time. But other than that, my execution was very, very solid this run, I think. And yeah, all the practice and the menus are paying off. I tend to take my runs very safely, which is why I go for quite a bit safety strats, double lift source, Umpire and Poppy swap for the Hunter's Chemistry, and Affinity Max Barrier, Gathering Sparks level 4, stuff like that. And I'm glad to see that's paid off. So yeah, definitely not the end. I'll try to beat this eventually, but right now I don't know. Maybe I'll run something else. Maybe I'll go back to this. I'll think about it. And if I do run something else, it's probably Torna, because I've been wanting to run Torna. Yeah, that's the end of the run. Hopefully this shows you that Boreas and Perun are overrated. So you don't need Boreas and Perun to get a good time, okay? You can get sub 4, you can get sub 355 without Boreas or Perun. Without Boreas and Perun. So I think yeah. The VOD's gonna end because I didn't watch the entire cutscene. Thank you for all the GGs. Thanks, Cardis. Thanks for all the GGs. And I hope you enjoyed this commentary, and see you all in the next video.